meeting from your computer, tablet, or smartphone at https://
So when Tim comes, Tim Harrington, he's got to sit there. That's the only thing. When Tim Harrington comes, he's got to sit there because he's my accomplice.
.com/town of Sturbridge/conservation. In order to call in, dial 1-646-749-3122. Use access code 819-169-093. Please remain mute at all times except when speaking.
Do you want this?
All right.
6
With
pickers.
that,
Thank you.
Town of Sturbridge lost, this last week, Mary Blanchard, who was on a lot of boards, a lot of committees. She was at selectmen meetings, you know, within the week before she died. And if we could have just a moment of silence to remember her and to thank her for the work that she did.
How you doing, brother?
Thank you. We, call to order, roll call. We'll start off with our newest, Nick. Laura.
How you doing?
Ed.
Eric Gaspar, present.
And Karsten is not with us tonight. Please be advised this meeting is being recorded. We have a walk-in, Mark Smith from Big Alum Lake Association. We'll start it off. Mark?
Thank you. And thank you all for having me here tonight. I really am excited to be here. My name is Mark Smith. I live at 186 Lake Road in Fiskdale on Big Alum, and I am the president of BALA, Big Alum Lake Association. So I'll speak for a moment or two wearing my hat as BALA president, and then most of what I'm going to say are my own personal remarks. And it's very important that I say that so that nobody takes things, not just you, but the public, takes things the wrong way. Seated next to me is Tim Harrington. I believe you guys know Tim, and he's seated next to me tonight playing the role of Environmental Committee Chairperson. Environmental Committee Chair of BALA, of Big Alum. So the bottom line, I'm going to jump right to the punchline, and I'll go as fast as I can, and I know that you have a really big agenda, and so I'm respectful of your time. I'll try to be as quick as I can. But as you'll see, you know, at the bottom of my comments, I'm basically asking, and Lauren and I have discussed this, if we could please set up a meeting where Tim and I would show up and really have a dedicated meeting with you all, the Board of Conservation of the Town of Sturbridge. And here's why. We are facing what I call an existential crisis of Big Alum. You know, my wife's family's been coming here for 70 years as their cottage on Big Alum. My wife and I now live there full time. And in the last 3 years or so, we've hit a tipping point, and the quality of the water for recreational human use is deteriorating rapidly. And as both Big Alum president and just a user of the lake, this is a great cause for concern. What I can tell you so far is the members of Big Alum have voted to hire a limnologist, a lake doctor. And I can also tell you that we have a subcommittee that's been appointed by Tim that is dedicated to dealing with the water quality, the issues that we're facing. So that's what's happened so far. So factually, that's all that I can really tell you. Now, going to my personal beliefs, my personal belief is that the nutrient load, mostly, almost entirely from man-made fertilizers, is what's causing the problem, as it is, again, in my opinion, in thousands upon thousands of lakes in North America, large and small. A lake, or I'm sorry, any plant needs three things: sunlight, water, and food. Well, you can't get rid of the water in the lake, and yeah, you can have trees around the fringe, but for the most part, the sun is going to hit when the sun hits the lake. The only thing we can do is to starve the weeds or the algae. I want to tell you a little bit, very briefly, about my history. In 2002, my wife and I, because we were such dedicated slalom skiers, we bought a private lake in the state of Oregon, 40 acres. We were the only owners, and I was the steward of the lake. And for almost 20 years, it was my challenge to try to make the lake in good quality and do it in the best way that was healthy for everybody to use the lake. When I first got there, I had to use some chemical treatments, similar to, what's in the OOC for Bala. Over time, I was able to reduce the chemical treatments because I was basically starving the algae and the weeds. It took a lot of planning. I hired a lake doctor. It took a lot of work, but it was successful. Since the beginning of this year, I've started to use in public the F word, and by F I mean fertilizer. I've started to speak openly saying I think fertilizer is the culprit. I've taken a lot of pushback. Not in all cases, and in actually more cases, people really just did not know. And that's both people who fertilize their lawn and people who don't fertilize their lawn. They were really surprised. So we've got an educational situation where we need to bring awareness to it, to what's going on. And by the way, people also, to a person I've spoken to, until I tell them, they did not know that it was in the Sturbridge Conservation Code that you can't fertilize near a water body. There was no awareness of that. So we're bringing that to their attention. Speaking again for me and for Tim, we want to lead the way in the way we manage our aquatic ecosystem and basically be a poster child for how to properly care for a lake, be a role model for nutrient deprivation. We want to minimize the amount of chemicals that we put into our lake. We basically want to turn the paradigm upside down compared to how it's been done in the past for our lake, and it is done in most lakes. Now, we're actually in better shape than many lakes. Cedar Lake has been closed for toxic algae blooms. Webster Lake was closed just last month for a big toxic bloom. We fortunately haven't had that, but we are definitely experiencing more algae and weeds by far. We're looking at mechanical harvesting as a possibility. The problem there is it's expensive. Anyway, I'm not going to get too much into the science, but we're really hoping that a limnologist will be able to, or multiple limnologists, will be able to help us with a strategy, and then we need to win over our residents and not only abutters, but people who live in our watershed, and win one heart and open one mind at a time. Just like it's difficult for you to enforce a lot of your code, including the fertilizer code, provisions. We don't have an enforcement arm as a lake association either, so it's really educating and persuading people. I'm also looking at the possibility of contacting Todd Smola. I have a relationship with him, working with some of the charities like Nature Conservancy, who have an infrastructure, who can maybe lobby the State House to see if we can come up with stronger rules statewide. Because right now, you're probably aware, the state's rules regarding fertilizer use or pesticide use near water bodies is more lax than yours, which is just shocking to me because Massachusetts is known for having a lot of regulations, and in my opinion, they're dropping the ball on this. I also do want to point out, and this is part of why I'm asking for a meeting, because it's far more, and I'm just touching on a couple of the major points. But I do want to point out, I'm trying, and Tim too, we're trying as a Bala board to change the culture so that people are aware about fertilized use and the dangers of it, and also to change attitudes towards conservation. You may or may not be aware of it, but there is a divide, at least from our end, where there's a lot of resentment to conservation. And in my opinion, conservation has won a lot of the battles, but because they've lost their audience and people are upset with conservation, we're losing the war. And in our case, that means losing our lake. Because when I bring up the fertilizer code to residents, they're basically like, I don't trust what conservation says, or at least that's one of the excuses. I also am concerned about dilution of information. So when I bring this up with some people, they say, no, it's climate change. The lake's warmer, the water's warmer, it's a longer growing season. And my answer is, yeah, maybe, that's part of it. I think it's a very small part of it. But I went to school in North Carolina for college. 40 years ago, those lakes already were warmer than our lake is today because it's much closer to the equator, and yet they didn't have these terrible problems with algae blooms 40 years ago. So in my opinion, again, it's human fertilizer. So what I'm trying to point towards is all pulling in the same direction. I want to be on the same page as you. We, BALA, want to be working in conjunction with you, in collaboration, where I'm speaking, again, just my opinion at this point, because I'll have to get approval from BALA, but we want to share information with you. So if we hire lake doctors, limnologists, we're happy to share that data with you. And we're happy to share it with all the other lakes in Sturbridge, and for that matter, anybody else. Once we've gotten it and we've paid for it, the more who benefit from it, the better. So I think that's right along the same lines that you guys want quality water, not just for our lake, but for all the lakes in town and for that matter, all around. So yeah, thank you for listening. That's pretty much everything I have. Sorry, I'm feeling a little time pressured, talking kind of fast, but Lauren and I were talking earlier today, and she said, if possible, if we can get on your calendar and just have a dedicated meeting to go through some of the fine matter, but my hope is we can work together for a long time.
Sounds great. Anybody have any comment? You're very consistent with my 42 years on the committee has shown me. A couple of points. You take the water from the aquifer and send your sewer to the river. I think that's an issue. Going forward, you're going to have to consider it because...
Yeah, that's on my list of things to bring up.
And warming of the lake water from cutting the trees is also an issue. Everybody wants to have a vista of the lake, but the creation of the vista creates more sun, and it's a pressure to the balance. You've hit most of the majors as far as I'm concerned, but there are other, aeration with power boats. When I used to fish up there when I was in the 70s, there were power boats, but there aren't that many. And they weren't 300 horsepower, and they weren't aerating the water and going in a complete loop all weekend long. Hyperbole, but I think there's a lot of things like that have to be looked at.
There was a lot that Mark just said that is how we, the ballot board, feel, and then there's other stuff that is just how he feels. Is, as he said, in my opinion, as I suspect, a lot of this, including the boat usage and stuff, would be in balance for the chosen limnologist to mull over and give us actual scientific findings, so that when we are ready to, we can make a ballot recommendation that would hopefully be consistent with yours, because it's scientifically backed, not just conjecture based on observation. And once we ascertain that sort of information, we'd be able to disseminate it and share it with y'all, and then we could be firing as one.
Yeah. No. To give you a positive, when I was doing that fishing, I'd go along by the houses, and there would be a brown line coming down from the house where their septic was running directly into the lake. And that was and you could smell it, just like jogging in an area that didn't have good septic.
Yeah, and that needed to happen, no question about
That
it.
happened, and that's a positive for the lake.
But the problem with that is then that opened people up to build nice houses, like the one, we didn't build it, but we bought it 9 years ago. It was built 30 years ago, and we xeriscaped our yard because we know about the dangers of fertilizer on the lake. But most people who build a big, beautiful house are putting in big, beautiful lawns, and in many cases, not all, and I'm not pointing fingers, but frankly, they're very green lawns that are likely fertilized. And so we're trying to communicate, Tim talks about fertilizer fertilizes. It doesn't care whether it's in the lake or it's on somebody's yard. So,
And also, if we, once we get a lake doctor to tell us that that's the culprit, then that's what we will push fully at as a board, full sure.
but not until, because we want people to respect us for scientific reasons, not, oh, that's just Tim's opinion, that's just Mark's opinion.
Everyone does have an opinion on the matter, I've discovered.
Yeah,
You know
we're,
that.
we're a lightning rod for people's opinions. So I don't know, Lauren, if you have a calendar or?
Yeah, if the commission would like to set aside a meeting, which I do recommend, either as a special meeting or as a special agenda item, if we could try and pick a date for that today.
I'd like to use it as an agenda item
Okay, for the next meeting?
for the next meeting and for every meeting going forward that they want to come in.
Okay, I'll just
You know,
push down
you
some
you
things.
have to map.
Because I do
the-
anticipate that it's a conversation that's definitely overdue and needs to be had, and it's gonna be, I'd estimate at least an hour conversation, just from some of the conversations that I've already had with both Mark and Tim and other residents on the lake.
So we can start earlier.
Can you, I think your schedule might be the most restrictive.
I can start at 5.
Can everyone start at 5 for the next meeting? We can kind of put that as a special meeting at 5, and then the regular agenda begin at 6?
Yeah, I'll talk to Carol, make sure she makes the meal earlier.
Yeah, I'll let her, she kicks you out of the house early enough anyway.
So is that October 9th, Lauren?
October 9th, that is correct. And while you're both in the room, Suzanne, Mark, Dan, Suzanne is right next to you on the other side here in the tan.
Oh, hi, Suzanne.
You guys should chat at some point too. So,
Great, so 5 o'clock Thursday, October 9th. That's my 37th wedding anniversary. My wife will be delighted to hear I'm at town council. But she understands, 5 o'clock, it's in the calendar. Can you make that, Tim?
I'll be there, buddy.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Thank you very much for your
Not the
time.
roads either. You have the worst roads, I mean.
I happen to be the fool who is also the president of Lake Road Association, and we are doing our very best to rectify that, in part because all the pavement pothole patching that thankfully Heather does to make our roads safer ends up going into the marsh, the swamp, on the other side of the road from the lake. So that's no good from an environmental standpoint.
So these are all things we'll have at it. See you in October.
Great.
Thanks for bringing those points into our attention, and I think you.
If you want to take a look at, is it Mountain Brook? Is it Mountain Brook that we did?
Mountain Brook was recently paved in, well,
If
somewhat
you-
recently
if you
paved
take
in.
on Cedar Lake, if you go take a look at Mountain Brook and see what they did,
Okay.
it's amazing. I don't believe in tar, but in this case where you're, you know,
So Mountain Brook Road you're referring to? Okay, great.
Cool. Thank you.
anything you do, guys, don't thank us. You know, as much as we are the police, so we're hated by 50% of the population, it's only on one opinion, the next opinion they like.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we're well aware of our reputation, don't you worry.
It's not a popularity contest, you're doing things for the right reasons. Well, we understand
Yeah,
and
we
appreciate that.
respect the work for sure. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thanks for your time, guys.
all right. Next, we have Troop 63, 163.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Anna Burns, and I'm a scout from 163 Sturbridge, an all-girls BSA Boy Scout troop. And I'm here to propose my Eagle Project idea. Last week I talked to the Trails Committee about my idea, and they were on board, but they said that I needed to get permission from you guys. So I would like to build a designated stargazing, nighttime stargazing observation area for the citizens of Sturbridge and the surrounding towns to use. I've noticed a lot of people on Facebook, the town Facebook page, have been asking, like, where do I go if I want to stargaze? Where am I allowed to go? There's concerns about loitering, and especially as people look for dark areas to go where there's less light pollution, they're going into some of your conservation areas. So I think it'd be very beneficial to have some place where people know they can go instead of going wherever, which could be more disruptive. So I have 2 sites in mind that I'd like to suggest or ask permission for. The lead mine the trail next to Lead Mine Road behind the OSV Education Center, and then the Arbutus Trail around Heinz Farm. I'd like to have a telescope pedestal for people to mount their telescopes on, along with some signage explaining what they're looking at, what time of, like, how the sky changes depending on the time of year, along with some QR codes to the Last Green Valley organization's website, and maybe some other information and resources. I've reached out to the Last Green Valley organization, and the representative I talked to is on board, and so I'm going to be conversing more with her about this. I also have support from the Joshua Hyde Library program. They have a telescope lending program, and as well as a trustee of theirs passed away a couple years ago and left behind a fund for astronomy-related things. So they are interested in lending some of that money to me, or giving some of that money to me for that project. So, yeah.
I liked it better when we had the hearing table in the middle. So that we can see them versus looking through.
Thank you.
I think it's awesome. I'm an Eagle Scout myself, and your mom would know who I am. So when you are into fundraising, please have your mom send me the Venmo, and I will make a donation.
Thank you so much.
Sounds great. Have you talked to Trails in Sturbridge, Trails Committee?
Thank you. Sorry.
Yes, she met with them last week.
Okay, good, because they coordinate that. Yeah, great.
I think it's a wonderful idea. I think you should also have some type of QR code, so like if they have like telescopes that can take pictures, that they can upload the pictures. We have a lot of sightings of auroras as well, so it might be like beautiful. Thanks.
I'd like to get in contact with the Aldrich Astronomical Society, and they, I used to be part of that group, so I'd like, yeah, thank you.
Great, fantastic, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it happen.
Lauren can help you through the process and when it comes
For what we'll
to,
need.
yeah,
Yeah.
for filing and whatnot.
Perfect. And one other thing that I'll throw out too is I'm issuing all the notices and press release, but we are taking applications for the Young Conservationist of the Year, so look on our website for that too.
Yeah.
But we can look at the sites, see what will be entailed, if there's permitting required, but I think it's a great project. And I think it's a great way to help promote trail usage and everything too.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We'll
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you so much for your time.
Agent. So give the drought status.
Dropping in an announcement today. I still have my report at the end, but one announcement just make at the beginning of the meeting, as it could be related to any of the public hearings. But we are currently back in a level 2 significant drought status.
Oh, lovely.
So that determination was made the other week, and they have dated that maps effective August 1st. The next meeting is on October 10th to determine if we're still in a drought. So obviously we dealt with this last year, and we have to be a little more cautious when it comes to reviewing projects with wetland delineation, specifically in buffer zone areas or isolated wetlands. Hopefully the drought does not last as long this year, because while we're starting to see the effects of last year, we hope that doesn't continue. So I just wanted to make that announcement publicly at the beginning of the meeting and allow us to kind of go forward from there.
All right, we're now well past 6:10. Open the public hearing for a request for determination of applicability.
Statement first.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So in the interest of saving time, the Sturbridge Conservation Commission will hold all public hearings tonight for work within a wetland, water body, or resource area and/or within the 200-foot buffer zone to a wetland, water body, or resource area in accordance with the Mass Wetland Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and associated regulations, and the Town of Sturbridge Wetland Bylaws and its associated regulations. We will not be reading the newspaper ad. Prior to opening the first hearing for each project, the applicant is to submit proof of notification to all abutters within 200 feet of the subject property line and proof of the legal newspaper advertisement. If these items are not submitted, the public hearing will not open. Additionally, prior to the start of each public hearing, we will announce the location of the project, the applicant, and the applicant's representative. If any of the visitors have not legibly signed in yet, please do so. Also, if any visitors are recording this meeting, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to reiterate what he just said, if you haven't signed in, please sign in by the front. I know a couple of you haven't. It's by the yellow sign over there.
Are we good on chairs, or we need some more chairs?
All right, 6:10, open public hearing for request for determination of applicability for 6 Fairgrounds Road.
Applicant is participating virtually today. Let's make sure I see him on there, so make sure he's connected.
Raymond J. Ron. Hi, Raymond. Or SEC file number 26-23, proposed project removal of 340-foot shed and replacement with a 338 square foot shed.
Switch those numbers, sorry. My apologies.
What?
Switch those numbers, my apologies, I just saw that. It's currently 338 going to 342.
Oh, okay. So he's increasing the size of it.
That is not correct.
Oh, that's not correct?
The size is shrinking.
Oh, all right, I am right the first time.
Yeah, I was like,
That'd be one time, right?
Yep.
Yep. What is it?
Okay.
Just,
Here it is, I have it up. That's the current.
Unless you guys wanted to make it bigger, but I didn't think that would fly very well. That was a joke, I apologize.
all right, go ahead, give your pitch, Ray.
Sure. So as you can see on the screen, the current structure and what was seen on the site visit, I don't know if there were any photos uploaded for this meeting, but what we're dealing with here currently is kind of an oblong structure, 3 different roof lines, kind of an eyesore, and a failing foundation structure. And the goal here is just to square that structure off, give it a little bit more curb appeal while still staying within the square footage and actually shrinking on the square footage of that structure, as well as moving the back of the structure. It's approximately 5 feet away from Cedar Lake, from the water. Again, just for curb appeal and structure and being able to store things in there safely, securely, and not have an eyesore, a big eyesore in my backyard.
So the 5 feet would be in addition to, that wouldn't be 5 feet from the lake, that would be 5 feet in addition from the lake.
So the distance the back wall is from Cedar Lake right now
Yep,
would increase, the distance from the lake would increase by 5 feet.
that's what I wanted to
It would
hear.
move
Yep.
closer. Correct, closer to the closer to Fairgrounds Road, if you will.
This is the
Right.
new location of the back end of the shed.
Lauren, anything from your point of view?
Yep, so the structure that is obviously within the 50-foot buffer is moving further away from the resource area, and there will be some improvements to the current condition. I have no concerns with the project. I think my only recommendation would be to, if the applicant would agree to do some planting, some shrubs on the lakefront facing side of the shed. One, it'll help with, there shouldn't be any erosion issues because we're working with the slope, but while everything's stabilizing, bring some vegetation to that area and could still, work with the site, provide some additional habitat. I think that would be a fair mitigation for the structure.
You agree with that, Ray?
I would take your recommendations as to what species and things, sizing and whatnot you'd like to see there, and would certainly be happy to oblige.
Good. Eric?
The only question I have is for Lauren on roof runoff. I mean, obviously, we're talking about similar space that they have today, but it's kind of broken up in the way that it's segmented in 3 separate roofs. So do we need, is there any roof runoff that we need to worry about as part of this? And is it built into this plan?
With this structure and the 1 solid roof versus the 3-piece that's currently there, I would say that overall that this is an improvement.
Okay.
And it's going to be on a concrete slab. With the distance from the lake, I would not, there's enough distance between the roof structure and the lakefront that it can slow runoff.
Okay.
If it did become an issue, we could add a condition that if we, go to do the final inspection and that we're seeing some issues on the sides to add some gravel beds to the side.
Okay. Ray, would you have any opposition to that being a condition added to the order condition?
Not at all. If anything, just for the sake of, efficiency in construction, if we're gonna write that in, I'd say let's get it written in, and I'll take care of that, as we do the project, not after the project is completed.
Okay.
But certainly would oblige.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's all I had.
Yeah, great.
I don't have any questions for this project.
The only comment I had is that you're using the lakeside of the shed as a storage area. I'd like to have that cleaned out, Ray. Store it outside of the 50 feet.
The goal is to have the storage area be inside. Again, the efficiency of the structures that I have there, or structure that I have there now, is incredibly inefficient. You can bet on a very clean lakeside or lake view after this project is completed. And yes, that storage area will be no longer.
All right? Anybody in the audience like to speak to this? Anybody here for this site? No?
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Sanderman in favor?
Nick Gravel in favor?
Okay.
With regards to the project at 6 Fairgrounds Road, SEC file number 26-23, I'd like to make a motion to provide a waiver for a new structure within the 50-foot buffer.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Sanderman in favor?
Nick Gravel in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 6 Fairgrounds Road, SEC file number 26-23, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw with the conditions put in the draft order of conditions and also listed in the agent's detailed agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? I'd like to call that a drip strip along that edge, so that we've often put drip strips along the edge of
We'll have an opportunity to discuss lengths, depths, materials, things like that, so we're meeting expectations with that drip strip.
I'll include it on there.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
Just want to adhere. Thank you.
All right, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Sanderman in favor?
Nick Gravel in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Thank you, Ray.
Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you very much, guys.
A request for at 6:15, hearing for request for determination for 7 Tantrasca Shore Drive. Owner applicant is Bradley Arquetti, Representative Mark Farrell, Green Hill Engineering, SEC file number 26-24, proposed project septic replacement. Now, that's a continuation?
The representative has requested a continuation to October 9th.
I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing for SEC file number 26-24 until October 9th.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Sanderman in favor?
Nick Gravel in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor. Thank you. We are now 6:20. Open the hearing or notice of intent filed under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw for 10 parcels, and they're listed. Owner, applicant, Lauren Ernst, New England Power Company, Representative Eileen Piscora, and Power Engineers Consulting, PC, SCC, file number 2517, proposed project refurbishment project for line 301. Okay? Go ahead.
All right. National Grid submitted this NOI to refurbish the existing line 301 electric transmission line to improve electric transmission system reliability by replacing those existing structures. The NOI is being submitted under the Sturbridge bylaws only, as the work is exempt from review under the Wetlands Protection Act, which has an exemption for the replacement of utility structures. These replacement structures were designed to be as close to the existing structures as possible. It's not possible to put the structure in the exact same spot as the existing structure because National Grid has to maintain service during the construction. It's our experience that DEP has accepted replacement structures in close proximity to existing structures as exempt, as long as there's no new permanent BVW impacts from structure replacements, which in this project there are not. Throughout the planning and design process, wetland impacts have been minimized to the extent practicable, but some could not be avoided. There will be temporary wetland impacts from installation of construction matting for work pads, wire stringing and pull pads, and access to structures. All of those temporary impacts will be restored. Construction matting and erosion and sediment controls will be removed at the end of the projects, and the wetlands will be restored to pre-construction contours. There are natural heritage areas along the right-of-way, and National Grid is coordinating with Natural Heritage to avoid or minimize impacts to those rare species. National Grid has an extensive BMP manual that was included with the NOI, and they require all contractors to adhere to those standards. And National Grid will utilize an environmental monitor throughout the construction process through restoration to ensure compliance with all permit conditions. And I will take any questions.
So from what I was going through with the plan, there is 117 square feet of permanent impacts from the pole foundations, and I have 3 stream crossings that are identified for this work process. This is similar as a lot of the other projects that we have seen recently with temporary wetland disturbance and new poles within the jurisdictional area, and I still stay with my opinion that this does still fall under WPA because of the impacts. And also a site plan was sent to Natural Heritage, and I don't know if anyone's received any response for that. So that was another thing that I wanted to address. But going through the area, I mean, it's a long linear project. Order of conditions would cover under the bylaw. So interested to see what the commission, how the commission feels based on projects that we've been doing and with consistency.
So you, in your notes, you said you had talked with our attorney.
Correct.
On this, and he agrees, or they agree with your perspective on this, but there seemed to be a hedge in there for the very minimum. So I guess if you could maybe give us a little bit more information on what the attorney said and how strongly they felt that an NOI should be executed here.
Similar interpretation that I had on the exemption, that if it's a new location, that it's still quantified as an impact, and that still does trigger WPA requirements, and that we have been requiring filings of notice of intent, that we could do an RDA and simultaneously filing under the local bylaw, but the requirements of our NOI are essentially the same, and it still requires public notification, a butter notification, and legal ad.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Yeah. You want us to take a break?
Yeah, you see the steam coming from my ears?
My question is this. First of all, we're talking wooden poles?
The existing structures are wooden poles, and they'll be replaced with steel.
They'll be replaced with steel. Now, so my guess is you're going to run the steel alongside them and cut the poles down and leave them the way they are.
Yes, the poles get cut below grade, and then the existing poles stay.
In my travels, I've never seen them below grade. Obviously, I wouldn't, but I've seen them not below grade.
The previous structures?
Yeah. Or they just cut it flush?
That is not the intent here.
So you're saying they'll go in, what do they use, to destroy it down to a level?
I don't know exactly what equipment they use to do that. I believe they hold it with a crane and then they cut the structure below.
Right, I
Grading.
believe that's true, but I don't think they lift it up to do that. They just hold it
Okay, with the crane?
with the crane, yeah.
Sure.
So they can put it where they want to put it. But I'm asking how you're going to, you're telling me you're not going to cut it flush. You're telling me that you're going to cut it below grade. How far below grade and how are you going to do that?
I'd have to follow up
Yeah.
with that information
Yeah.
specifically.
I don't know that it's even, in my decision-making, I don't know that's even an important thing, but, but you're saying it.
Yeah, I will find the details on that and get back to you.
And if I may,
Go ahead.
Lauren, below grade seems like that's more disruptive than at grade. How should I be thinking about that? But are any of these in?
We would definitely
in a
condition
wetland?
fill requirements, yes, some of them are.
They're physically in the wetland, so we would be just, is that something we should consider?
And I would condition with the fill, of use of clean fill that needs to be added and quantifying, perhaps even get a report at the end of how much fill was used at each location, so that way we can monitor that to make sure that there's no long-term erosion.
If the ones that are replaced are wood, probably it's better to leave them above.
Pileated
they're
wood-
going
the
to-
pileated wood deck is like the wood.
They're like,
They
or they
do.
could be treated wood.
What?
Maybe treated wood.
Yeah, well, they like
It is treated, but they do like it.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's a question maybe they just pull them up in their entirety. If that's the case, then the hole would have to be filled.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
how it
oh,
works.
yes, they're not, yes, they wouldn't be leaving.
So you'll
holes
find
in
out
the
how
right
they
way.
do it.
Yeah, let me get the details, the specifics on what the plan is here, and I will get back to you on that, yes.
Okay.
How far from the old poles are the new poles going? And like how much new disturbance area is going to be?
If you look at the mapping, the red X's are the current structures, and the black dots are the proposed structures. So they're typically between 10 and 20 feet away from the existing structure.
The double poles, huh? So there's 2 poles for each structure.
There are 2 poles, yep.
Okay.
There is an area that there is a beaver dam lake
Yes,
area in that.
there is a lot of beaver activity on the right-of-way. So National Grid has contracted Beaver Solutions, which I think you are familiar with. They have a tentative plan for construction that we have detailed in the NOI, and then before construction, we'll make a final plan. They'll get whatever permits they need from the Board of Health. Yeah, so we'll keep the beavers as happy as we
And
can.
hike that area. It's like- it's a beautiful view at the
Yes.
top of the hill.
Anything?
Does this tie into the other National Grid project that is over there?
Here's the overview. I'll zoom out. Nope, subdivision. Ultimately connects to a subdivision,
Okay.
Was that a yes or no?
not to the other project, no. I would also comment on the buffer zones as well, showing the 25 and 50. The 200 foot is shown on most, but I think just for clarity, for the commission's sake of being able to see distance, and maybe we can even have that laid out of disturbance within the 25, disturbance within the 50, disturbance within the 100.
Yep, we can provide that.
I think we need to, in fairness to the applicant, figure out how we as a commission feel about whether or not this needs to be an NOI or an RDA. Because that's a structural piece, right? So I don't think we should have them go and add stuff to the plan and do all that stuff before we have an earnest discussion around how we feel on that.
Well, they're asking for an NOI.
Under the bylaw.
What?
Under the bylaw.
But under the bylaw, not under the Wetland Protection Act.
Yeah.
Right, so that's what we have to determine. If we don't determine that, they send them, and then they come back in 3 weeks, and we determine that we want it to be under the Wetlands Protection Act, then that's a little bit unfair. So I think we probably should make a determination, or at least have a discussion to give them some guidance there.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I understand, I certainly understand your perspective and the attorney's perspective. I also think that that might be a skosh conservative for what this project really is. And given the general guidance that we get from the state on these things, I don't know that there are things that do determine how we go, but if you look at our typical response from DEP, I don't know that they are the ones that are guiding our decisions on that. So I would be,
What do you want to do, Eric?
I think we can do it under the bylaw as opposed to the Wetland Protection Act.
Do it under a Sturbridge bylaw?
Yeah. Even though that might not be the absolute, most
Well,
conservative.
it's a function of getting it done right.
Right.
Yeah,
Understood.
yeah, I agree with you.
I would like to see the total area of disturbance, because the poles are one part of the project, but in order to get those poles in there, there has to be much more disturbance, I will expect
So-
for.
Sure, and we have quantified that in here, all of the temporary disturbance from the construction matting, and all of those, that hatched area that you see, those are the construction mats that we're intending to put down to make work areas.
How
in
large are
order to
those?
install. They're 150 by 150.
150, and you're going to put them around every single site?
Not every site, oh, this is Brookfield, but I don't believe that every site needs construction matting.
Yeah.
But where you see those hatched areas is where we are intending to use construction matting. So we're using it in the rare species habitat to protect those areas from disturbance, and we use it when we're in wetlands also. And if we have to cross a wetland, you'll see hatching across there that shows, so you see a road there.
And is that quantified to the 79,000 square feet roughly, just so they,
Yes.
yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, as soon as if legally it doesn't apply to be within the Wetland Protection Act, then our bylaws probably are stricter in some cases than wetland protection.
Typically, yeah.
Yeah, typically, but I don't think that in this case that we'd use it that way. I think Eric's point is correcting one way or the other.
It does happen every once in a while, we agree.
So is that road new?
No, nope, the yellow that you see there is existing access.
And there is existing access to all of them for maintenance,
Yes.
to all the locations.
Yep. There is, except for the wetland areas where we put matting down. There's not a built road through there.
Lauren, would you be amenable to us using this Sturbridge Act to cover this?
Yeah.
You went,
Our bylaw is still enforceable, so it's not whichever direction you want to go. It's just, I'm just wanting to make sure that we're making consistent decisions. Getting all of that data, and I think if the commission has the information on the specifics of the installation, the amount of fill, or if we can get an estimate, but we could condition that as well. The disturbance within each buffers, the total area of disturbance, and tree removal. And if we can quantify all that, that would cover.
Okay.
So would you like, how long of a continuation would you like to get all those calculations in front of us and then bring this back? Is October 9th sufficient for what you need?
Yes.
To get that and get all the
before you
calculations?
do that, I want to make sure everybody's willing to go.
Oh, yeah, good point.
with
Yep,
the-
that's
yeah,
fair, that's
yeah.
fair.
Are we all in agreement with the use the Sturbridge wetland bylaw? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So is that work?
Yes, that sounds great.
Should we ask the public if anybody wants to comment before?
Yeah, if anybody's here for that, we'd like to hear from them.
They're putting in new, where's the existing?
Ma'am, would you mind just going to the microphone and just name and address for the record?
Nancy Plimpton, representing 321 New Boston Road.
So if you look at the red X's, those are the existing poles where the poles are now, and the black dots are where the new poles will be.
So they're going way up.
No, they're right next to it.
See if I can get to
The, is this the?
See right here?
New Boston.
Yeah, so in this case, yep. So these red X's right here are the existing poles, and then these are the new poles. So they'll be 10, 20 feet away, something like that.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, like I'm reading here, and Lauren just said that the special counsel suggested that at least an RDA should be filed. So wouldn't be legally would be in any problem going through.
Ultimately, you are the decision maker. The commission can determine what they deem exempt and what's not. And that is part of the authority that you do have.
In this case, it won't be a problem. But rather than have her do two different. Anything else? Okay, Eric, why don't you ask her if she wants a continuation till October 9th?
Is that good for you?
That is good for me. I will
All
see
right,
you
well,
October 9th.
then I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until October 9th.
Great.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Germany in favor.
Nick Gravel in favor.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can we mute whoever?
Yeah. Someone keeps logging on, I think. 'Cause I-
Okay, notice of intent from Cedar Lake. The owner is the town of Sturbridge. Applicants are Suzanne Brozek. Suzanne, hi, Brozek. Cedar Lake Association Representative Ann Chase. And we have a number for it now, right?
Correct. That's I gave everyone a copy, printed out a copy of the DEP comments for everyone as well.
See how good she is? She went and got that number for us. All right, go ahead.
So Carl Nielsen from TRC is representing us. Anna Chase, who was listed on the agenda, is actually on vacation. So, and we have Josh Catone here also, who's a trustee of Cedar Lake Association, and he's actually the one who's the expert on drawdowns for Cedar Lake. He actually is the one who executes.
I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm the one who knows how to work the crank. Open the floodgates, I guess you could say.
Yeah, all right, so Carl?
Hi, everyone. Carl Nielsen, TRC. So what we're asking for is permission to continue the drawdown that's been performed at the lake for at least the past 20 years and actually get that under permit. The goal is to do an annual 3-foot drawdown That exposes about 18.1 acres of lake bottom. The work with the drawdown would start after October 1st and be completed by November 1st, give or take. And that's an annual drawdown. So that still leaves 138 feet of 138 acres of lake underwater for fish habitat and overwintering, etc. So that's the goal, and we have filed the permit with a drawdown operation and maintenance plan. That was attachment D of our filing, and that outlines the details of how much water will be released, how much will be, the schedule. It identifies Josh as the person responsible for the work, and it gives his contact information as well. So that's it in a nutshell.
And it's part of our annual weed control. So, the thought process is that by using this more natural means of doing weed control around the borders, that hopefully what we're resulting in is using less chemicals.
Lauren, you're up.
So obviously there are several pros and cons to lake drawdowns. The state did revise the recommendations last year or the year before, where they allowed up to a 4-foot, now 36-inch is the maximum. So this does comply with that. The comments we received from DEP do state that the drawdown is proposed between October 1st and November 1st, and the criteria for drawdowns contained in the FGIR for eutrophic. Yep. Thank you. At Aquatic Plant Management, Massachusetts state drawdowns should commence at the beginning of November. And that's all the other guidance that I'm reading as well, is that they don't recommend drawdowns in October, that it should be no later than November, or no earlier than November 1st.
Versus what we're
Yes.
approving.
I also want to open a discussion if the Lake Association would be willing to fluctuate the amount of drawdown every few years. Maybe have a 36-inch drawdown on year one and then go up to the 2 feet, because you are a shallow pond and there is a lot of bare area on other ends too, that maybe a 3-foot could be extensive to do it every year, and that could be easily managed. And then lastly, I have a resident who came in today who's not able to attend the meeting and wanted me to address some comments with the public. Ransom Daniels, 15 Old Hamilton Road, has said that he's spoken out on drawdowns before and is opposed to them and does not think that they should happen before November 1st. He has said that he had his conversations with DEP that they don't want lake drawdowns. He lives on the north end of the lake where it gets completely bare, and when all the leaves are falling, the leaves just fill into the lake, into the bare area, which also he believes contributes to other environmental impacts. And has also requested that the commission review the treatment map for the vegetation management to see how effective, or how targeted it is in the areas where the lake drawdown leaves more of a bare lake than areas that have more water. So bringing those comments forward.
Okay, Carl, you want to comment on those questions?
Let me see if I can. Yeah, so trying to run through those. There are portions of the lake that do get exposed. There's 18 acres of exposure. The northern end of the lake does see that, exposure more pronounced than the southern end of the lake, and that's just due to the bathymetry and how the contours of the bottom occur in that area. The goal for the drawdown is the 3 foot. It's still, the lake is 17 feet deep or more, so there's plenty of water volume. So from an ecological perspective, there's certainly enough health or space for aquatic life to be sustained over the winter with oxygenation under the ice cover. So we're okay with that. What was the other question he had?
About alternating 2 and 3 feet.
Oh, yeah, was that his question or yours, Lauren?
That was my question, to see if that could be something that's proposed.
We have lakes where we do that. We alternate. The challenge is part of what we're doing when we do the annual drawdown is we're preventing growth from occurring and being established. And so having a year where it's a little deeper and you get less control, it just means that there's more of a risk to having to bring in herbicides to control what growth comes in, especially if it's a non-native plant. We have lakes where we alternate years, where some years we do the 3 foot, we actually do a 6 foot drawdown in Westford. And we do that 6 foot, and then 2 or 3 years we skip, and then we do the 6 foot again. And that's been effective, we've studied that for over 20 years, and there's been no impacts to native plants. There's been no impacts to mussels or snails or any of the other aquatic organisms in that lake. And so we're pretty confident in keeping the drawdown at Cedar Lake at 3 foot on an annual basis. It's what they've been doing for the past 20 years or more. And so it has proven not to be, there's no impacts to the lake. We're not changing anything, so it will continue to be operated in the same manner that it has been, so there wouldn't be any increases in impacts to fish or wildlife or ecology of the lake.
We also want to point out that when the lake gets drawn down, the residents actually go in and rake stuff out of the lake. So we're raking leaves out of the lake that, can house extra phosphorus, which we know we have an issue now with cyanobacteria. So I guess it's hard for me to understand what the benefit would be to just do a 2 foot drawdown, when in fact it's just going to prevent us from being able to do the kind of clean out that we try to do every year.
Yes, let me give you that permission. Hold on one second.
Let me see if I...
Here you go.
So, a lot of feedback. Let me see if I can fit. This screen here shows the exposed area. You can see the 3 foot blue line right here. So you can see this southern cove gets a little bit of exposure, but most of the shoreline along the perimeter of the lake is really not exposed. It's very minimal. And I can show you the next page. Let me, if I can go down a page. And this is the northern end of the lake. And even on the northern end of the lake, both the east and western shores are very tight. That 3 foot line is very tight, and a 2 foot line is really going to be almost insignificant with regard to what, that's almost what the annual water fluctuation might be. Whereas here in the very northern end, you can see that 3 foot line. Can you see my hand, the little hand icon?
Yes.
It still leaves most of that cove with water. It's very shallow water at that point. It's a foot deep or less, but there is water in that northern cove. So that's, I don't know how to couch it any differently. The plan is to just continue to do what has been done. It's been working, and it's a combination effort. This plus the order of conditions you've already issued for the annual weed control work and algae work. They work hand in hand together, and keeping them separate as two separate permits is a great idea because they can be worked on in different cycles. We can update the weed control program, but this is going to be a pretty standard, hopefully renewal when we come back in 6 years. We don't, or 3 years. We don't expect anything to have changed. The plan is really a fixed plan that's been going on for 20 years. So I prefer to keep it with a 3-foot annual drawdown if we can, just because the amount of shoreline exposed with a 2-foot drawdown is very minimal.
I have a couple of questions. This map of impacts is showing the area that is going to be dry based on the drawdown. But what is the total impact when the freezing temperatures comes? If you have 1 foot of water, even though it has water, it will freeze over. So the actual impact on the available habitat for fish and other species might be even bigger than the impact. So do you have an estimate of, based on the freezing temperatures and the depth of freezing, how much of the area is actually going to be impacted for wildlife?
Yeah, they're, you know, when it's 6 inches or a foot of water, there's not a lot of fish living in it. Most of the fish go to deeper water in the winter anyway. They're not hanging out in the shallow areas for the most part. Ice cover varies from year to year. So some years there's very little, or 6 inches, and some years you might get a foot or 2. And so it's hard to say how much impact there is from ice cover. But there's plenty of habitat beneath that ice cover for the fish. You know, the ice doesn't occur instantaneously, so they have time to move out of an area as the ice encroaches or deepens, and they just move to the deeper areas. So if you think about it, they don't want to be in really shallow water where they can be prey very quickly. So they tend to move deeper.
And my second question is, if we receive emails on these mosquitoes that have been finding Stourbridge
West Nile.
with West Nile. So if this drawdown, I know this is in November, but we know that we have warmer temperatures coming into the fall. If there is any concern from Board of Health in terms of breeding sites, extra breeding sites for mosquitoes.
They did not provide any comments, but I also did not specifically ask that question. We did find out yesterday that there was a body of water in Sturbridge on the southern end of town that did test positive for West Nile, so I absolutely could ask that question directly to him.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Anybody?
Yeah.
You're going to need a response from me on that.
Do you want Carl to respond to that as well?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, the West Nile virus, I mean, I don't know anything about the West Nile virus in Sturbridge, but I do know that mosquitoes aren't going to be, the Cedar Lake's not really mosquito habitat in that mosquitoes need sort of stagnant water without fish. So if there's, because the fish will prey on the mosquito larvae pretty quickly. So we're confident that the drawdown will not enhance mosquito populations in Sturbridge.
Yeah. Well, my point was that because having like a drawdown, you're like moving the fish away. Now you have shallow standing water, and it might be the breeding site.
It's really from November through March or April that the water will be low, and there's not really mosquito growth until the water warms up.
Thanks.
So my question, Carl, is around the one question that wasn't answered. The EPA is recommending November 1st as opposed to October 1st to start. What is your opinion on that and the impacts to your plan if we were to condition this to start November 1st or after?
Yeah, there's 2 responses. We developed the plan based on what has been the case of operation for the past 20 years. So we're not looking to change that. And the guidance by DEP is certainly not, it's guidance. It's not, depending on who you talk to, you get different answers for that. So every lake is different. The rate of refill and the rate of drawdown for every lake is different. And you really need to tailor your drawdown plan to match what your lake and watershed are capable of doing with regard to release of water and recharge of the water in the spring. So that's how we built this. We built it or designed it to mirror what has been occurring. It's nothing that isn't out of the ordinary. If we wanted to shift it 2 weeks, I think if the I'm representing the association. If the association was willing to start mid-October and go to mid-November, I'd be happy to make that a recommendation. But it's really up to them to decide how they want to manage it.
So I guess I would ask you, as the master of the drawdown, what is the impact? Because an answer of, well, that's the way we've always done it, just doesn't generally resonate with me. So I'm trying to ascertain what the size of the problem is here if we were to go with the guidance.
I can answer some of that. I can answer some of that too, Carl. I mean, you're looking for why we were doing it at this point. At these dates.
I'm just trying to ascertain what the impact would be on the lake and on the association of moving it within the guidance.
So in the beginning, and I know that because before me, it was my father or my father's friend. I've always helped or taken care of it with somebody else or whatever.
Yeah.
And now it's my responsibility. We always let it down. A lot of the people didn't live there full time. So they wanted it down as early as they can so they could come back, say they were going to Florida or wherever they were. They wanted to be able to come back and clean up property and not clean up in November or December or when they could get back. So the earlier, the better for us to be able to clean the properties out front on the lakeside is the reasoning why we let it down earlier. Now, if it has to be later, I guess it has to be later. If
What
it's
about the
guidance.
recharge? We're in a drought now, right? What are we looking
When
at?
I have shut the gate, within 2 weeks, I've usually seen the water come back up. But sometimes they don't like that. I think Carl has mentioned that we don't want to let it out too fast, and we don't want to recharge too fast because it disturbs habitats on either side. So we want
That's correct.
So we want to do it slow, and I think that's another reason why we should, if we had a length of time, because I know if we do it November 1st, people are going to want to see it come down pretty quick. To be able to get out there and do those projects and clean up the walls and patch anything, because I know there's some walls that need to be fixed, and that's when all that stuff starts to happen.
From an ecological perspective, what we're really talking about is you're trying to start the drawdown before reptiles and amphibians actually situate for habitat. You want to get the water down to a level that is sort of fixed so that they can then burrow in, like turtles, frogs, can burrow into the muds along the shoreline or places where they are going to overwinter, rather than have them do that and then draw it down and expose them, and have them having to relocate as the project goes on. The other piece of it is the rate of drawdown has to be slow enough to allow for mollusks, clams and snails that are in the lake to be able to move fast enough to get so they're not left exposed during the drawdown. So if you draw it down too fast, you impact mussels and clams. If you don't draw it down soon enough, you impact amphibians. And so that's the deadline for DEP to have it down by the end of November is really sort of their way of protecting the reptiles and amphibians. So that's the piece of it we're looking on the drawdown side. On the refill rate, the thing that might be a little different from this plan than what has been done in the past is we're going to work to maintain water flow to the downstream wetlands, which may or may not have been happening in the past. It wasn't part of a permit. It wasn't necessarily a concern. So the lake was brought up very quickly. But going forward, we're going to let water through the dam, and that's specified in the drawdown operation plan, how much water will be released. And so it's, the goal is, drop the lake 3 inches, no more than 3 inches a day, and ideally raise it no more than 3 inches a day in the spring. And that's the revised approach.
I kind of did that, Carl. When I would open the gate, I wouldn't shut it through the winter. You got to let some water keep going through, so we're not drying up that waterway behind the Yankee Spirits and all that. You don't want to dry that out. And then, like he said, I didn't go there and just shut the gate completely to fill it back up. I would let water run through and do it at a rate.
All right, so what are we looking at?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
I have one other question. What does the Lake Association have its own rule for removal of temporary docks, or how do you notify abutters with? So the current select board policy is that temporary docks have to be out by December, but obviously if you're doing the drawdown at a certain time, you want to make sure that all of your residents get their dock out before that.
Yes, we're
So
more concerned about the boats than the docks, Lauren. So we,
well, so how does everyone know when to get their stuff out? And
it's on our calendar.
Okay.
It's on our annual calendar that's presented at the beginning of every lake season. And then there's communication that goes out both by email and it's on Facebook. And it's on our website. This year, if you go to our website, you won't find a drawdown date because we need to know if we were going to be permitted to do it this year, right? So, but, if we are permitted to do it, we'll go back and we'll actually communicate that all back to our residents so that they know to get their stuff out.
have you ever had issues where they don't get it out in time?
Boats?
Boats?
Boats and docks, just because my concern would be if you're pulling a dock out or a boat out with no water, that it potentially could do some ground disturbance, so,
I've had boats stuck on boat lifts before. Yes.
And is there anything, any additional support that you can get from the town through either the Conservation Commission or the Select Board to help notify residents so they are getting things out on time? Like, if your current method isn't effective, would it be beneficial to have?
The only thing,
town
I
help?
think I've only seen one or two where the boat has either been left on a dock and they have noticed and we've contacted, or somebody in the association has contacted and said, hey, the water's going down, you gotta get your boat out. So we do have our mailing list and we do have our email list, and there is, when I start letting the lake down, I'm in contact with the president of the association. The president of the association goes through hey, next week we're gonna be letting the water down. Today we're letting the water down. So we do our due diligence that way. And the one that was ever stuck, that was a couple of years ago, we all helped him get it off and out. But as far as docks go, I think people wait for the water to go down a little bit to make it easier for them to get some bodies in the cold to get them out. Yeah. Another reason we like it earlier.
I think we need to move this along.
Yep.
Just I have one more question. The comments from NHESP, do we have
Natural
any?
Heritage, we do not have any comments from them.
What would you like to see? When do you want to start? When do you want to end?
I would like to see it start when our proposal.
October 1st?
Yes,
And November
yes.
1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then return would be when?
What did it say on it? Does it say?
October 1st.
No, the closing.
Oh, the closing?
Closing, is it in March?
I think they government say March.
I think it's in March.
I think it's March, it might be. I don't know if it's the beginning or end, I don't know what the. And I can tell you
The
what,
dates are on the application, I'll have to, let me pull them up.
I can tell you what the years past were. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, it was when we used to get ice a lot, it would be when the last ice let out, we would start closing the gate.
Yeah, so
Early March and refill by April 1st. Following ice out, basically. It's once ice out happens, then they will start refilling.
March 1.
I think the thing was with when you bring the water back up with the ice, then the ice starts moving and starts making and damaging the shoreline. So you don't want to see, I think that's right, Carl. I don't know if that's true or not, but it could do some damage. You don't want to see that.
Would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, unless there's any further
Yeah.
comments.
This group
you
looks
wanna
like
do-
they'd be
yeah,
standing
public
up if
comments?
they wanted to make a comment.
Huh? Public comments? Yeah.
Anybody?
Not seeing any, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Any discussion? Glenn, you had a frown on your face.
I appreciate that this town is following the filling back up the pond, because in Leicester and Spencer, and I will mention two towns, they're not keeping track of it, and they are shutting gates off completely. I've been on the phone with DEP over 12 years or so to say, we're not getting any water, because I live on the French River, and sometimes they shut them completely off. So thank you for this slow filling, because it has been a problem, especially we stock the
Yep.
French River, and sometimes we've been down to just what comes in from tributaries and nothing from the headwaters. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyone else? Oh, you want to go ahead?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Yep. All in favor?
Gaspar in favor?
Saint Germain in favor?
Ed Goodman in favor? Ed Goodman in favor. All right.
All right, with regards to the project on Cedar Lake, DEP file number 300-1244, I'd like to make a motion to provide a waiver for work within the 25-foot buffer zone.
Did you close the hearing? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Second.
All right. Any discussion?
I just want to mention something, maybe it's not like for the 20-foot buffer zone, but I want to be sure that the natural heritage comments are included when they come, even if we, like, I think it's important to look at this, but I don't want to have an oversight of trying like to close things without comments, and also with including the comments of DEP. I just wanted like to mention that in terms of the dates and so on. So I want to be sure that I'm clear on the conditions that we're voting. That's the only thing that
As far as the dates?
Yes, as far as the dates.
So, I mean.
The hearing is closed, so that's,
Yeah.
you guys to
We have
discuss.
I look at it this way, it's a guidance, and we're issuing a 3-year permit, and this has been going on for 20 years without any major, so we're gonna have another bite at that apple in 3 years, right? You know, so I don't think that there's going to be any seismic differences between what happened last year and what's gonna happen in the next 2 years. Obviously, anything can happen, but, you know, if it's just a guidance right now, and it's gonna disrupt some of the stuff that they already have from plans, plus we're working on a fairly tight timeline anyway, I'd be comfortable with sticking with October 1st, making a note of it for when the application comes back in front of us in 3 years, which you're probably gonna ask for an extension, and we can provision at that time whether or not we wanna make the change to the dates.
Great.
That was what I was gonna mention as part of the comments after.
Oh, no, that's great, because I'm new, so I don't know, like, well, you mentioned, like, you've been doing this for a very long time, but I'm not familiar with the trajectories of impacts and all that, so, like, if you are, like, comfortable that you've been here, like, for a while,
I mean, if there was a stronger pronouncement from DEP on that language, that we need to do something about it, but if it's a relative guide, that's just my 2 cents, right?
Great,
Yeah,
thank you.
I agree with you, but for totally different reasons. We're not seeing any guidance.
That's twice today.
I know. But he had
We're
to
not
coach
getting
it.
any guidance. We haven't, I've been on the committee for 40 years. It's the same thing every year.
No.
We're managing a lake, and we're doing the best that we can. but we really need some experts to tell us, you know, all the species that we're killing versus all the species we're protecting, and try and come up with a plan, but we're not, and we don't have that tonight.
And some of the reasoning why we hired TRC and the other companies is because of that reasoning. We need to learn how to do it better ourselves, right?
Yeah, right.
I
That's
think,
we're not the only ones.
right.
Nobody cares.
Right. And we're trying to protect our, this property in front of our house, our community, our
Technically, we're probably
lake.
supposed to cut that off.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you couldn't like.
This is supposed to be just for us.
Because we closed already. I was
We had already
going
closed,
to. I'm
but
sorry.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
So we need a vote on the 25-foot buffer. We got
I second it. and
Eric
then-
Gaspar in favor?
Central in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
I'm sure my notes are.
Robert from Robert's Rules was just rolling over in his grave. But, all right, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the project, DEP file number 300-1244, under the Wetland Protection Act with the conditions as noted in the draft order of conditions.
Thank you.
Second. No, we have to vote. Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Central in favor.
Nick Gravel in favor?
Thank you.
And lastly, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project for Cedar Lake under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw with the conditions as noted in the draft order of conditions.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Central in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Nick Gravel in favor?
Hello, thank you.
Thank you, folks.
For what you do.
Appreciate your partnership on this.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Carl.
So, that was a doozy.
Now it's 6:40, 242 Big Alum Road. Applicant Samuel and Carla Gilbert. Glenn Kravosky.
Thank you.
Do you have a number?
I don't have anything to say.
That's all right, Thanks.
Okay.
I was wondering why you weren't at soccer.
Oh, you're gonna jump.
I'm just, yeah, I
So we were at
will
the
be a
site
little bit loud for
ins- were you at
trying
the
to
site
get some
inspection?
air.
Thank
There's so
you.
many
You were at
people
the
in
site
here that
inspection?
Yes.
our ACs.
And there was some question about what you had thought was on the plan. The toilet was already removed from the plan because,
Shower, yeah, we're not doing.
well, I'm just saying that, and then the pool. I'm ready when you're ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Glenn Kowalski from EBT Environmental Consultants, Inc. Thank you for having a site inspection with my client, Conservation Commission, relative to the structures on the property. This wetland line had been approved, it's still in order of condition, so that apparently is not the issue, seeing as the line is set in stone. There is an existing order for that line. We did write that up in the project description, that the wetland line was valid because of the existing order on the property. Okay. So, and there was some discussion I had with Brandon Forcia, who's doing some of this work, and my client, your first name, ma'am? Kara, who was at the site inspection. There was some question about an outside shower. That had been removed from the plan. So the plan you have does not have any outside gray water shower. And the basketball court had been turned and moved to what you were looking for. Talking to Mr. Forcia today to make sure that we were in line, because there were some questions during the site inspection about those two items, shower and court. So again, Boyd Road, Big Alum Road, Big Alum Lake, further over. I'm not sure if it does, it's actually off plan. So we're away from, and we have the different buffers showing up, the 200-foot buffer, so having wetlands or resource areas on both sides of the project. The front of the house is a wetland across the street, flagged by others, again, agreed upon. Apparently, I did look at it, but knowing that the existing order covered it, because it wasn't appealed, it's good until it expires, that order. And then the shoreline was a retaining wall, and that was unless there was some question about the shoreline, it was the wall. So again, from the 100-foot buffer zone from the lake is obviously over here. I'm gonna make sure I've got it right. Yeah. And although it's hard to read, this denotation that's fuzzy is 100-foot buffer. And then the 200-foot buffer from across the street comes in. That's 200-foot buffer right there. So that other fuzzy below permeable application, I believe, it's pointing to the basketball court. But that, underneath the note, that's 200.
Where's the clicker at?
They're broken like a bugger.
Well, let me try a new battery just in case.
I was
whoa, like, I thought
no,
it worked.
well, because somebody was using it earlier and it didn't work. And they haven't been working for me for a while. I thought it was me. Just kidding. So, I'm sorry, 100, much better. 200, basketball court, ma'am, and then the shower structure. Again, not the shower structure, but the area around the patio, I should say. Yes, I understand what, I'm all set. Robert's Rules of Order, thank you, as was mentioned earlier. Anyway, it's just about who talks. I apologize. So, but you can always talk. That's the other structure. Goshen stone steps, that was this thing to come around. And if I could ask my client, please, through the chairman, anything else, Kara, that was on the plan that you want to make a mention on? These other steps, I think we come in with these, correct? And then the Goshen, and then this,
Patio.
and then this.
And that.
That's the project. Again, the shower was removed. I'm not sure, it must have been a discussion, if I could, between Kara, her husband, and Mr. Forcier, because initially that was.
We talked about it.
We had talked about it.
What's
But
the-
I discouraged it.
What's the surface on the court?
What is your surface on the?
Sport court. It's like a, it's got all like hole, it's hard to describe, I guess, but it's like a thing that clicks together and it's all holes. Like a plastic.
A rubber side with
rubber.
holes in it, so there's some porosity to it?
Yes. Water definitely can
what-
go through it because
could-
it's like a grid type of a.
Thank you. We'll have a detail on that. We'll have a detail, which we normally will have. So because
If you
we,
can actually
because,
get the specs on the material, that would be
Yes.
great. Not even necessarily for this project, just to educate the commission and myself, and then
Yes.
going forward, this could be something that we
might ask for.
recommend going forward.
Thank you.
for other
Specs
similar
on
projects.
court. Okay, we'll have that, and we'll have the square footage of it and the permeability of it. Obviously, should be in the specs.
Anything else? We don't have a
No number.
number. We got a continuation, unless you have a question, Eric.
No, I was just looking at VersaCourt.
Is that what it's called?
VersaCourt, is that what it's called?
That's what it's called?
VersaCourt, it's on the plan.
It's on there. I called it sport court, VersaCourt. you're
We'll
right.
have we'll have actually the spec
Oh,
on it.
I'm sorry, Kara, I wasn't listening to what, I was just reading, so, did you say? But, yeah. Okay, I can send the link to everyone if you want to read up on it.
My question is just to be sure that this is the latest plan with the position of the core, because I think we discussed like
Blender.
a different position or something like that. This is the,
Yes, through the chair, yes, it is. We confirmed that with Mr. Forcier today. The earlier plans, that when we first received it before we submitted, there was changes, and then what we submitted to DP&U was the reason, in not just only having well, you have the specs, if I could say through the chairman, the specs on the VersaCourt, we're going to add it in as an exhibit in our plan. So it'll come over as a separate exhibit.
All right, Nick, anything?
So, October 9th?
I just have a
Please.
quick comment, and also we still have to open to public comment. One last question for, and if I overlooked it on the plan, I apologize. There was discussion on the site visit about this tree, about removing it. Are you still planning on removing that one, or relocating this one?
if it's
This is,
in the boundaries of.
It's not a native.
It's not, it's,
No, my
no,
father-
it's ornamental, so it's not,
Taken out.
My dad planted that a long time ago.
yeah.
You could
Planted
salvage.
a lot of things.
Can
but-
we salvage it? Is it small enough to salvage? Do you want it? I mean,
I
your
mean, we're gonna
father-
be landscaping and putting in a lot of trees.
Whoa.
I just want, yeah, I mean, it's not a
I'm looking at the
significant tree, I
hot
just
pot.
want to make sure that we're noting it
Yeah.
accordingly. I think it was about,
I
like,
think
right here.
it's maybe on the corner there, but I don't know
Okay.
exact. Did I put it on the plan?
If you just want to, let us know by the next meeting, and then,
it maybe
that way I
around
can just
here?
include it in the findings.
Anybody in the audience like to speak on this project?
Tree.
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing at 242 Big Allen Road until October 9th.
Because it looks
All
small.
in favor?
Like this.
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Central money favor.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We continued it, all right?
Thank you very much. October 9th. Thank you for, Karen.
Thank you.
Sorry I missed the site inspection. I had a Worcester one at the same time. I apologize.
All right, we're now at 6:30. An order of conditions for 548 Haynes Street. The owner is Carol and Christina Classic. File number 29-92, approved project.
Ed, if I may, I recommend opening both hearings, 6 and 7, because there's so much overlap, and you're just going to end up talking about the same ones
And I'm
anyway.
also opening notice of intent, 548 Haynes Street, same, and we don't have a project number.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, go ahead, Glenn. How come you're not getting these numbers for us, Glenn?
You know how much I push for those numbers? I'm serious. We're on the emails back and forth. It's coming close. Come on. Judy Schmidt, let's go. Tom Rabula, Rebecca Gendreau. Thank you. First, thank you again. So again, I was tied up in a Worcester meeting. There's a bad excuse, but here we go, and I wasn't at the site inspection, and thank you again.
You know, I hate it when you digress.
I wasn't there, thank you, I'll move right on. The project, so this was Central Mass Builders' original site, as you know, and then there was some overcut before the gentleman, or prior to you buying it. And so we had an amendment to the original order under the bylaw to add additional, I'm not going to pull it out, that overcut, as you're all familiar with it, we already went through this plan before. We ended up planting 5 more trees at the limit of the work. And then the gentleman, Miss Carol, first name, he wanted more because he just bought the property and he so there's the house, and he wanted, and the wife and the daughter here, and they wanted a pool in the back, logic, and a gazebo, a proposed gazebo, and then a shed for other lawn equipment, staying out of the 50-foot zone with any structures. There is a slope, and here comes this clicker, working. So the wetland is still, again, agreed upon because there's an existing order on it we take. And so then we have the 50 cutting through here, no structures. We have monuments along the zone to cover that. Proposed tree line, replanting of the slope. And apparently there were, correct me if I can ask my client, 2 additional trees that were located.
Correct.
And so we are adding more trees to the mix. This is an arborvitae row, generally flat. If we, and then there was some discussion at the site inspection about possibly moving this closer. And for your backyard, talking to my gentleman, that the spacing out, and if there was more, if this was over here, there would be a little bit more walkway. This is grass and grass. And this is close to the pool where things are going to happen with the toys and the things that you use in the pool. Again, we did work for that 50-foot. Clearly, we have to keep it out of your zone. And for just the spacing out of the backyard, that's the other reason why the shed's over in the corner, more out of the view of what's going on here in the pool, and then the complete access directly off the patio. This is why the gentleman and the wife wanted it where it is. That was one of the discussions. If I could ask the chairman, my client, and thank you, if I could, what other issues were?
No, so just, we've all met, at a few of these meetings. So initially, we wanted to go further in, and then I learned of the wetland and all the rules, and hence we moved the whole border in to stay out of the 50 no-touch zone, and that's why the gazebo's in that area, and just we're trying to comply with everything that's, on the bylaws, and we went back and forth with Glenn and Topper planning a few times on this, and try to accommodate with everything, so we come in here and we comply with everything.
If I could. And then the other thing, this was an old field. That was one of the, as we talked the last time, this is one of the most extensive exotic invasive backyards you could find. It's heavy with autumn olive, oriental bittersweet, European buckthorn. There's Japanese barberry out there. Yes, there's
Is it autumn olive or Russian olive?
We went over this a long time ago. Not you and I. That is autumn. It's autumn olive. It is autumn. We'll bring in a little detail on the autumn, but we used to call it Russian until I got corrected by, I believe it was Robert Burton out of Holy Cross, the botanist, who wrote with Rowinski out of UMass.
Amazingly invasive.
It's the amount of seed mass that a lot of the, just on a side, the seed mass on these plants is so great. That's why they're we just came up with purple loosestrife. I was on a pond today, whatever, who cares? But the point is, something like 2 million seeds per plant. So it's, most of these exotics are just loaded with mast, just like the oriental bittersweet, the autumn olive, Japanese barberry, and so that helps them just spread even quicker and further than our natives. They're successful in that, and as you're aware, you can make a jam out of that little berry. It's quite bitter, but I haven't tried that yet. So, well, you want to know everything.
I love you, Glenn. I love you.
That's the only thing I want to hear. Wait a minute.
Sorry, I looked one too.
He just wants you to bring him some of the jam.
Yeah.
I am going, you'll get it. That's it. You got it. I'm going to find it. So, so we're planting with all native, and we'll take a condition that we maintain that for, I'm going to have to say this because we're hoping to get what the client and his wife would want. We'll take a condition for, and I won't give you a year, but generally, when we're doing exotic invasive removal, it's a 2-year program. This is going to be graded, so we're not going to have any exotic invasive in this area when we first set it up. It'll be a regraded, that's a post-grading slope right in here, and we're planting all on it. It's not steep. We don't have an order of conditions. I'm going to get you the slope. I think it's a 3-to-1, or it could be a 4-to-1. There's no overland flow going to it, so we're going to ensure that it's stable. But we'll give you the slope.
4-to-1. It wasn't that steep, was it?
Yeah, that's fine.
No, but the point, but there's some post-grading here. We're gonna, a lot of times when I have my engineers, we want to show you the post-grading up front, just so there's no question about it. That's all. So I'm going to give you that post-grading, and we are going to maintain it to make sure, once these plants become tall enough, these will not be short New England wetland plants. They're going to be substantial, so they can crowd out and shade out the exotics, but we're going to make sure they're not under there for whatever period that the commission so might require us. We just hope it wouldn't be extensive, but normally a couple years, just to make sure they're not
You're
coming.
using arborvitae as a shade tree?
The arborvitae is more of a, that's more of a...
They didn't even consider the arborvitae as replacement for anything.
I
said
told-
without cutting
I told
out.
them this.
That's why everything behind the fence is there, because they're like, this doesn't count.
Oh, really?
Because they're not native to here, these arborvitae. They're more northern. Actually, our white cedar is up from northern the Wachusett, not Wachusett, but Quabbin Reservoir and going north all the way up into Canada. That's where they're from. It's not the South Atlantic white cedar, which is more down along the coast if you're looking at those cedars. The southern white cedar, they call it. So we didn't count them.
The erosion control, is that also the limit of clearing?
100%. That will be established too, just to make a point, because we just had some problems with that. That'll be surveyed out, staked in the field exactly where it is. It'll be S&M Farms installing that erosion control, so it'll be 5 to 6 inches in the ground with a ditch witch, and there won't be any work beyond that. So staked by the surveyors and put in by S&M, and it will be the limit of work, because we're adamant about it, and I know you are too.
Okay. Great. Anything from you?
Glenn answered majority of my concerns, but as we were talking about it, it might be in the narrative, I forget, but did you quantify the invasives?
We talked about the invasives during the prior project, but could, just 1 second for my project description. It's right here. We will bring that from the last notice of intent under the bylaw, we'll bring those quantifications into this.
Okay, I just want to include that. We discussed about why the gazebo is being proposed as it is, as opposed to further from the resource area. Other than that, just pointing out the DPW director's comments about proper disposal of pool water and not discharging that into stormwater systems and obviously into the wetlands, which we would include as a condition. Also another comment that is outside of conservation jurisdiction, but the applicant should be made aware that there is no parking or staging of vehicles or trailers in the town right-of-way, the area to the right-hand side of the driveway, and that area has been made for trailer parking and should be returned to natural vegetation. If an area is needed for parking of a trailer, it should be on this plan on the property. So I would just recommend at some point reach out to Heather and have a conversation with her.
Where are we talking?
Down at the bottom,
Yeah, I know.
down here.
I didn't do anything to that area.
No, it was there before, we know that it was there before you bought the house. Whoever built all of that basically developed more in the town's right-of-way.
I have a trailer there maybe twice a month. It's usually on my job site, but yes. But I didn't touch that area.
If we could say, it sounds like DPW want to make sure that the personal use of your property doesn't spill over onto
But I don't
the-
think that's even my property.
And yeah, if you want clarification on where the boundary of the right-of-way is, reach out to Heather and have a conversation with her too. We've talked about it before with her, and we know that it was the developer that kind of had done some activity over there, so just have a conversation with her.
Okay, no use of the town's property for parking trailer.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little.
To slow the traffic down, they think it's police.
They do speed through there.
They do.
There was a high-speed chase down that road like a couple months ago.
But people, there's like a sign, people go like really fast.
The drag racing strip.
So
we could
just, we need to quantify the removal of invasives.
Methodology and numbers or density.
But really why, within what we're talking about here? House is as it is, everything's as it is, and they're moving in and pushing back in the invasives, in the area of the invasives.
Yes.
I'm asking it for the sake of the commission because we're showing justification for further disturbance. When the original project was approved, it was very clear of the limit of work. So now going forward, it's including additional work. So just to support the commission's decision that if we're saying this project does, promote healthy native vegetation because we're doing this for most, it will help you in the long term when it's coming to consistent decision making and justifying other decisions.
Procedural question, I mean, these are two separate applications. Do we wait until the DEP file comes in and just move both at the same time?
I'd prefer to because it'll be easier for me when I'm issuing the permits.
Is the applicant okay with that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
It'll also save us like $20.
I'm not okay with it.
Who is it? I have his button on, he's okay. I have his button on, he's okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay, but brother's here.
Okay, so
And then we're gonna recruit him to join the Conservation Commission once he's all done with his project.
all right, sounds good. Sit right here. Do we feel like October 9th is an appropriate?
Yes, we'll be ready.
All right. Any comments before I make a motion? All right, well then I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until October 9th, both for SEC file number 2192 and the DEP file number that has not been issued on 548 Haines Street.
XXXXX.
XXXX, yes.
Second.
Discussion, any? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Everyone in favor?
Nick Ravel in favor.
Good one in favor. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
See you then. Appreciate your time. I'll stay on point the next time.
All right, we are now, never Glenn, you're never gonna stay. Come on. Kind of used to
It wouldn't be you.
Yeah.
It would be you.
Open public hearing for the notice of intent for 316 The Trail. Owner applicant is Kathleen Harrington, Representative McClure Engineering, DEP file number, we don't have a file number.
We do have the file number 300-1243, no comments from
1243.
DEP.
Oh, cool, thank you.
Demolition and new construction of a single-family home. Right?
Okay, good evening, Chris McClure, McClure Engineering, and I'm here with Kathleen Harrington, the applicant for this project. 316 The Trail. The project involves the demolition, raising of a existing structure and the building of a new home. So it's about a 0.4 acre property. It's located on the east side of the trail. And it abuts the Big Elm Lake. The wetlands were flagged by Ecotech, and the survey and the rest of the field work was done by McClure Engineering. All work, basically the current house is about 31.4 feet away from the resource area. The new home is going to be pushed back 20 feet, so all work will be outside of the 50 foot. And the closest point is this dock right here. The lake, edge of the lake, kind of, there's like a little bump in right there. So, but most part, all the work is outside of the 50. The structures are outside of the 50. We were on site with the commission to do a site walk. There's been a few changes since then. We talked about the trees that they were looking to remove, the larger pine trees and the oak. Since that time, and the biggest concern there was the roots that were protruding up through the grass and the tripping hazard associated with those. Since that time, we discussed the possibility of just filling that area in with dirt and allowing those trees to stay. The applicant was originally on the understanding that you had to take the trees down to get the roots out of the ground. So if that area could be built up a little bit and some loam and seed spread up there and that hazard go away, we've taken that off of the tree removal schedule at this time. The applicant's architect is here as well. Oh, if I could, just to share, I know sometimes the commission likes to see what the potential homes would look like. So we were, if you don't mind sharing that, just so you can get an idea of the type of structure that the applicant is looking to construct. There's a retirement home. They're trying to keep, right now they're trying to...
Color, okay.
Come on. Use some blue lights.
Jeez.
Cool.
Basically, it's a stone gravel driveway now. The driveway will be paved with the construction of a two-car garage on the street side, and basically walk-in onto the first floor coming out of the driveway. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer those. And Kathy's here, and her son's here, and the architect is here as well, so. That was one of the trees that we had originally discussed removal, but we're going to maintain those trees now. We do have a landscape
well?
plan.
I didn't see it.
The well is, oh, I'm sorry, yes, it's like right in this, corner here. And the new well is going to be up towards the front of the property.
You're gonna close the old one out?
Yes. It's a old hand dug shallow well.
Yeah,
correct?
shallow
Yeah.
Is the porch in front a part of your calculation? I mean, are you moving it back inclusive of the porch or exclusive of the porch?
We're moving it back in, when you say to the proximity of the resource area?
Yeah.
Yes, it's inclusive of the porch, yeah. That's where our measurement is from, the nearest part. It's at 51.4, yeah.
Any questions?
The revised plans meet all of my concerns. I think the only question, and I was trying to do some research on my own and wasn't getting too successful, but perhaps our new member might be able to provide some insight on what an appropriate amount of fill would be that wouldn't negatively impact the root systems
For the trees?
for the trees where the
Talking about
roots
the
are
white
being
pine?
exposed now.
I mean, you wouldn't need more than a few yards, to be honest, maybe a couple yards, a couple inches, just to kind of get it up. You may have to do it a couple times with compaction over time when you walk on it. You might want to, if that's what you're kind of asking, I think. Yeah, short of going like, they're going to probably want to come up again. So I mean, this is going to be something that's going to happen over time. The age that it looks like they're at, it might be something you have to readdress in the next 20 to 30 years with the trees being taken down. So that's something to think about.
And if it doesn't work out, come back and they'll show signs of, that they're not gonna make it.
Yeah, I don't think anything you would do with filling is going to affect the health of the trees there. Even if you did it even, I don't know how much we'd really want to allow them to have there, but because of runoff and stuff. But I don't think you would do anything by trying to make it away from a trip hazard, yeah.
No, I mean, it really is just to get maybe an inch of soil above them, just so that it maintains a flat, easily accessible walkway for Kathy and her husband.
Sure.
Thank you for that suggestion. Our concern was the roots.
Oh, it was his suggestion. He just put it through me so that he didn't get in any trouble.
Oh, okay.
Do you have an idea of when you ideally would want to start construction?
Spring?
Okay. I'll just put some additional conditioning for erosion control, especially if we're going to be adding fill, to make sure that the site's stable and no runoff into the lake.
And we need a continuation because we don't have a number.
We do have a DP number.
Yeah, we do have
We got a number?
the 1, 2, 4, 3.
Stand corrected. Thank God for you, Eric.
You sit correct. Well, no, thank God for Lauren. She put it on the paper so I could read it.
Hot off the press, it just literally came in.
And there were no comments, so that's why I didn't print it.
Anybody in the audience like to speak to this?
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Aspar in favor.
Saint Germain in favor?
Nick Gravel in favor?
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 316 The Trail, I'd like to make a motion to provide a waiver for temporary and permanent disturbance inside of the 25-foot buffer.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Saint Germain in favor?
Nick Gravel in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 316 The Trail, DP file number 300-1243, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Wetlands Protection Act with the conditions as noted in the draft order of conditions.
Second.
All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Saint Germain in favor?
Sorry. I do that to Carson once in a while.
With regards to the project at 316 The Trail, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw with the conditions as noted in the draft order of conditions.
Second.
I'd just like to say as discussion, or just like to say out loud, thank you to the applicant for working with us and coming up with a project that we can all feel good about and is going to improve the standing on
Thank
the
you
ground.
for your
So,
suggestions.
Yep, I usually don't agree with Eric, but.
yeah, I mean, today's the day, Ed. Today's the day.
What's the date? Eric, you should play the lottery
I
today.
know. Second, Eric Gaspar in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Such money in favor.
Nick Gravel in favor.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
Make sure they do a good job removing that, the old house. You don't want any of that to get into the lake.
Right.
I think you just push it. I'll just pick it up and carry it out.
Yeah, it's not that simple.
My favorite, this one.
Yep.
Thank you,
Okay.
Lauren and Lord.
Thank you.
Notice of intent, this is 710. Notice of intent filed under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw for Brookfield Road. Hi.
Hi, good evening. Is it possible to bring up the application, or should I? Okay. Andrea Kendall with LEC Environmental Consultants. I am here tonight on behalf of Massachusetts Electric Company for a notice of intent that we filed for utility upgrades along Brookfield Road. A portion of these activities are located within the local 200-foot buffer zone to 2 isolated wetlands. This is part of a larger project along Brookfield Road. So before the commission tonight is just that section that is within their jurisdiction. My understanding is that some of those activities outside of your jurisdiction are already underway in terms of tree maintenance and whatnot. So within the jurisdiction, your jurisdiction, we have just 7 utility poles that are being replaced with taller poles. And then with that, there is a vegetation maintenance, which includes tree removal and then some limbing. And the purpose of those activities is to establish the safe clearance distance from the new infrastructure to the vegetation. So that's essentially it.
Show me later. I wasn't
Included in the application is a GIS exhibit plan and then a host of on-the-ground photos to get a feeling for that. A couple, something to, so this is a southern extent of Brookfield Road. And I think there's even...
There's a better one.
Yeah, I think a better one. A couple of... So I don't know if you've gone up and down the road. Some of the trees have X marks. So those are the ones that have been identified. That's a photo of the isolated wetland. And yeah, another image of some other trees to be removed. So this is the southern extent. I think it starts essentially from the trail north, and I don't have, there we go, to number 224 and 223 Brookfield Road. So we show the individual trees and the genus that will be removed in that proximity within the right of way. That's it in a nutshell. National Grid does implement erosion control measures when they're installing the new poles. The trees that will be cut flush, they're not going to be stumped and grubbed or anything like that. So land disturbance in that respect will be very limited.
Any questions from the commission?
What about brush, is that taken away?
Yeah, everything is.
Chipped and taken away?
I was just going to say, I would imagine they have a chipping truck right there and process it on the spot. All the equipment will be positioned from the road, so, police detail or whatnot to manage traffic around the activities. So land disturbance should be very limited.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What is the reason for the removal of the trees? Is that
So with
maintenance?
Yeah, so National Grid has a forestry team, and so these new poles are taller. So they need to maintain a certain offset from the utility pole structure itself and then the reconductored wire, so that will be placed higher up. So they assess if the tree is leaning, if whatever is overhanging. There's a number of criteria.
It makes sense with storms.
Exactly, yeah.
The new poles coming in are standard utility poles, wood.
They are wooden, but taller.
Taller than the ones that are there.
Similar to the ones that are further down Brookfield Road already.
Okay. Are those 45 feet or?
I think so. I think that project has been working its way further down.
Yeah.
Questions?
No? This is just
yeah,
between 100 and 200, right? That's
Yeah,
it?
and I have no major concerns. It's just going to be making sure all other approvals, pretty much any of the other comments are from the other departments, marking out the water and sewer lines during construction. And then the DPW director had asked if the tree warden has taken a look yet at this, and if this is part of the vegetation maintenance plan that he has already approved. If not, it might require a tree hearing, so just, I will put a condition in there that just says that no work can start until all approvals are granted. But I would just reach out to Tony and, do you have his contact information?
I don't, but, so the forestry department from MECO or National Grid, they do all that coordination parallel to the environmental team and permitting aspect. So I will let them know.
Yeah, we'll get them in touch just
Yeah.
to make sure that there's no additional permits that need. I know that he's looked at a lot on Brookfield Road, but and I'll just put that as a condition for no work starting until all town permits are in place.
Does this require replacing the plantings or?
So much of it is vegetated from what's already there, with especially that area with the BVW. So any planting that they would have the authority to do within the right of way would be limited, because you wouldn't want to put anything there that eventually is just going to grow into the same problem. So if this was an open parcel and like a transmission line, I would absolutely recommend it, but they wouldn't have the authority to plant on private property.
Thank you. It's just.
Nick, anything? No? Anybody in the audience?
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Question? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
German
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Grounds in favor?
German in favor. Okay.
With regards to the project on Brookfield Road, SEC file number 26-26. Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw with the conditions as noted in the draft order of conditions.
Second.
Any
Oh,
discussion?
I'm sorry. This does require a waiver, but I didn't understand why. Or at least in the notes.
Typo.
Typo.
Apologies.
Okay, so,
No waiver.
sorry.
No waiver.
I will reinforce my motion.
Okay.
And I re-second it.
Okay.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
German in favor.
Nick Gravel in favor?
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
Lauren's just making sure that I'm actually reading her notes.
Test you every time.
Test me.
Well,
And is, your
Nobody
question, I
ans-
asked why.
Nobody answered my riddle in the email when I sent the detailed, so
Is it?
that shows how much you read that email.
No, I read it, I just didn't
Lucky
get,
that
I
I
mean,
read it.
is it a brook? I don't know, because they babble? I don't know.
The answer's a wetland.
Oh, a wetland. Well, do wetlands speak?
Hey, guess what?
Or brooks babble, so therefore?
Yay.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to continue on. We have a notice of intent for 71 Mashpog, but it's been continued.
Correct. The applicant is requesting a continuance to October 9th. We did receive updated materials yesterday, so I will review those and then forward it to everyone next week so they have ample time to review.
All right?
I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until October 9th.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Sherman in favor?
Nick Gravel in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor. Are we now to a Lake Road maintenance?
We
Yeah, I
are.
think we are, yeah.
Hello, my name's Dennis Murphy. I live at 162 Lake Road, and I've came to the Conservation Commission to address the water drainage issues on Lake Road. I was working with Lauren, and my first impression or design here was just to clean out the ditches on the side of the road and clean out the culverts. They haven't been cleaned out in 20-plus years. And we just wanted to remove the debris, get the culverts working again to minimize the water from running across the road. In working with Lauren and Heather, we did a site walkthrough, and they suggested that we do a little bit more here to mitigate the problem of the water running down the road and into the wetland. Because what has been happening is that the debris from the road, the broken asphalt has been washed down the road and into the stream. So Lauren suggested that we put some breakaways in on the, and I may be off on my direction here, but I think it's the southwest side of the road. This is a picture of that was a picture of the ditch that would capture all the water running down the hill and funnel it down into the woods. It's been filling up with leaves and debris for the last 20-plus years. So we were hoping to scoop that out, take that debris away, dispose of it properly, get the ditches working, and we found that the culverts that go across the road have filled in, so they're no longer diverting the water from the high side of the road to the low side.
So this is the outfall of the one at the top. And then this is the clogged.
So you're going to get some divers to go in and clean them up?
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping, to, get the neighbors rallied, with rake shovels and whatever else we need. Brian Isold has offered to help us out with some machinery, because, there's going to be many yards of debris that we need to cart away and dispose of properly. So none of us, with our Priuses or Ford Fusions have a trunk big enough to do that. So he's graciously offered to help us out with that. He lives on this road also, so he has a vested interest in getting this fixed. So I guess that my intention of just getting the water off the road was to try and maintain whatever's left of the asphalt there. But secondary to this, all this debris you see on the side of the road washes into the stream. So if we can get that captured by in front of the culverts, digging it out and putting riprap in there so it captures the debris that we can clean out on a yearly basis, So my original intent was to get just approval from the board here so that we could clean these ditches out on a yearly basis and clean the culverts out. It should be a lot easier than waiting 20 years. And then, because we don't know, one of them is so blocked up.
Actually, if I'm involved, it wouldn't be easier. In 20 years, it won't be a problem.
Yeah.
Come on, Ed. You'll still be here in year 62.
So, Lauren, do you want to speak to some of the ideas that you had?
Yes. First off, I would really like to thank Dennis and the Road Association for wanting to be proactive on this, and I wish that, I hope that this is the beginning of more private roads coming to us and trying to maintain their own road in a appropriate way and in a plan that we can all agree on. We went out with Heather and we looked at basically, we all kind of have seen the problem of what's going on, but over years of the DPW filling in potholes, the excess material has run to the side and has filled in the ditches and created unintentional berms. It would be extremely beneficial to have those areas dug out by hand to the furthest extent possible. And we have, when we went on site with Heather, we discussed about marking out a limit of work of, an average of 4 feet, no tree removal required, but clearly marking the limit of work before any work is done and excavating about 1.5 feet of material, taking it off site, putting in some drop inlets where the culverts currently are, so that way they'll be easier to keep clean and maintain. And then in the area where the culvert is running to connect the wetlands, we kind of somewhat mucked around in there that we believe that most of the debris that's clogging up that area can be removed by hand without having to actually dredge or use heavy machinery. Equipment might have to be used for some of the excavation for some of the areas further up the hill where the millings are very compact. But I think that overall we can do this in a clean way. We discussed the areas of trying to map out what an ideal swale would be, which is slightly modified from what we had discussed up here. But allowing the runoff here and then starting it again, having breakaways on this side every 10 to 15 feet so that as the water is running down, it has some other places to kind of release versus channeling downwards. And of course, we know the bigger issue is ideally it would be great if they could, grade and pave the road, but financially that's just not in the cards right now. So if this can be a plan that this road association can do to regularly maintain the road while they're collecting funds to have a more, I won't say permanent, but semi-permanent solution that will really help stabilize the area. That this would be beneficial for residents, for the wetland area, for pedestrian safety, that overall there's a lot of great benefits to this plan. And there was some work at the top of Arnold Road that Heather said that she can go out and do that's still on the public road that should help deter some of the runoff that's coming that way.
So the discussion on site about machinery being used, that is not in play in the areas of our primary concern.
Correct.
It's further up the hill,
Correct.
more upland. Okay.
So erosion control still should be used, especially while everything's kind of restabilizing. We've identified areas where we think that once it's kind of dug out, that riprap should be kind of put in to kind of stabilize and keep things back. But if the road association is committed to doing this regularly and keeping it clean, and also they'll understand the boundaries of what to clean out with the limit of clearing being staked out too. So, but there should not be any, I mean, if they go to dig in that area to kind of trench out some of it and they're just not getting in, we can talk and, have a conversation about it, but really no heavy equipment really needs to be used in the first 50 feet.
My only concern about asking is when there's equipment 200 feet up the road and you end up in a situation where something gets a little bit difficult. We'd rather not have a situation where somebody just makes a decision on their own to go in there and use the equipment.
We could condition it that if any heavy equipment needs to be used within, I mean, you could do the whole jurisdictional area or just within the 100 feet, that they have to get the okay from our department first.
Yeah.
And
Would
then if
that
it's
be agreeable,
something,
Dennis?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
if it's something that, hey, we didn't realize we were gonna have to use it here and we do, that it would require, you know, another inspection first to kind of, you know, go out and verify.
Okay. And would the recommendation be, if it's gonna be pre-staked, to have you go and confirm the stakes before any work gets done? Just make
Correct.
sure that it's in line with your understanding?
Correct.
And our-
Heather would join me as well too,
Okay.
because I value her opinion as an engineer too, that's working on these roads and seeing these problems everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that something needs to be done, right? And and obviously this is a worthwhile project for the health of the wetland and also for the safety of the residents. So just need to make sure we're balancing all of those factors. So thank you for working with us on this. Dennis.
Thank you for your understanding. So
I-
the only thing that I think we didn't touch on is that you recommended that we sweep up all the tailings off the road just before it goes into the stream down below. So Brian.
Breaking it all up, yep. And he said he can do that without heavy equipment.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that he volunteered to jump in the murky water too and dig things out.
That's what
Pretty
I
sure
heard.
that's how I heard it.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I'm much more of a cynic on these things. I've seen too many of them, so I apologize. But first of all, if you clear 4 feet on either side, which is that includes a lot of trees.
No. That you would have to come out and see it for yourself.
I have.
There's we walked the whole area, there's no trees, and anywhere there a tree
within
is,
4
it'd
feet?
be maybe 3 feet. Not from where that road should be. There is from where that berm is now, but you have to keep in mind the road itself
Yeah.
is in more.
And you said you're gonna do an 18-inch swale
18 inch.
either side?
On the pink side,
Okay.
with breakaways on this side, because there's this all fill that's coming this way, but breakaways every 10 to 15 feet that way, because the road is pit angled that way. And one day when it's graded, it will be properly.
I'm very much in favor of the plan. I just, what is the piece of equipment that's gonna come down there? What is it?
Well, I think Brian has a small excavator for the ditching up here to clean out at the top part of the road by the mailboxes. We're going to use that to clean out all the debris. As far as the secondary culvert is, right there, that's where we're going to use that excavator to take out, we'll put that swale in, I guess is the correct terminology. It's all filled in. It used to, the water used.
Excavator.
I'm sorry.
It's an excavator.
A small one, yes.
Yeah.
A Bobcat one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. What do you think, Hank?
Last question about the excavator. You had mentioned on site the potential of when the excavator is being used to ask for staff to be on site or have somebody monitor that.
For
Doesn't
how
sound-
this activity is going, this is manageable by our office, and I would prefer dedicating time for oversight of this.
Okay.
That way, if we're finding things as we go that it's just not working out the way we had intended, or we hit some problem along the way, that I can easily make time to dedicate towards this, because I do think that this is an important project, and again, I hope that this kind of sets precedent too.
As long as you feel like you have the capacity to do so, that would make us feel more comfortable, well, make me feel more comfortable.
I mean, the heavy part of the work is just gonna be this first year, which hopefully gets done within the next month. And then after that, it should just ideally be maintenance. You know, we did talk to Heather about, you know, future filling of potholes too, because we're just seeing that, especially in the middle of the road where it's not getting compacted down to the vehicles, it's not that great of a benefit. So we, you know, talking about other alternatives so that way this does not create a problem again. But the majority of the work is just gonna be this year, and then go out regularly. We'll have them notify every year when they're gonna do the maintenance, if you're gonna do it once a year or twice a year, so you're gonna do it in the spring and
assume
the
that,
fall.
what I was gonna get was a letter that said we could, take the leaves and debris out of the, culverts and some of the ditches, just rakes and shovels, maybe a leaf blower.
The permit's gonna be structured more like an ongoing maintenance plan with parameters and approvals, essentially is how I'm drafting it.
Well, why don't you put it together and then we'll send it out to us and we'll take a look at it.
Okay.
That makes sense. I mean, you're practically there now, right?
Well,
I'd limit it to,
I would like to see them get started before
I don't
the
have any
leaves are
problem-
already falling,
I don't
but
have any problem with starting tomorrow, but if we're gonna get in there with an excavator,
It won't be, it's probably 2 or 3 weeks would be the very soonest that we could start this.
You have a dump truck you can use?
Brian does, he's got a triaxle
Yeah.
dump truck. But he's currently working on Big Alum Lake, taking down my brother's cottage to get rebuilt. So I think he's gonna be tied up for a little bit.
110 Paradise.
Ryan, what's his last name?
Isold.
That's, okay.
Clearview Construction?
Correct.
Yep.
Oh, hey, Bug. So,
Fresh air
I'm-
bugs. Can't have both.
Are you concerned about taking action on this tonight before you see everything, Ed? Or are you comfortable with leaving the detail work to the agent because she knows what our concerns are and making sure that it gets provisioned appropriately in the order of conditions?
I'd rather see it before I approve it.
Okay, the only concern that would create is our next meeting is in 3 weeks.
It doesn't
So-
have to be a meeting-sensitive thing, from my point of view. If
Soon.
Lauren
Would you act, and when I have the draft, send it to you and you and I can discuss it?
Right.
With the conditions as met, because obviously we can't add any additional things, but
I have no
you and I can
problem with
discuss
that.
it.
You can go out and take a look and.
And I'll send the final to everyone.
I just want to make sure we're not impeding the progress that needs to be done this fall.
Yeah, I mean,
before-
ideally before things are already starting to fall.
Right, exactly. So,
agree.
how do I craft a motion that allows for what?
Well, it's just a
basically you
Sturbridge
and-
Wetland bylaw letter, so you
Yeah.
can just do it as, I mean, we're granting temporary disturbance in the 25-foot buffer because they have to get into the wetland to dig some things out. And then, you can just issue the permit for ongoing maintenance with the plan.
And the plan to be approved by the agent in
And-
concert with the chair?
Yes,
If I say it that way, does that cover us from a motion standpoint?
we'll do it as a condition that the final maintenance plan also receives the chair's signature.
Okay.
So, we'll do a maintenance
And
plan
I'd be
with
happy to
Ed's
walk the
signature on
road
it.
with you and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the final document that they'll receive to hold will have my signature and Ed's signature on it.
That works. Flora, does that work for you? Nick?
That works perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Those candies are from Maine, from my neighbor.
Oh, thank
so-
you. I love them.
Uh,
I'm eating the last one, sorry.
anything from the crowd?
All right.
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Perfect.
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Gentlemen in favor?
Mike Gravel in favor?
With regards to Lake Road Maintenance, SEC file number 26-29, I would like to make a motion to provide a waiver for temporary disturbance within the 25-foot buffer zone.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
San Germain in favor?
Mike Gravel in favor?
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project for Lake Road Maintenance, SEC file number 26-29, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Wetland Protection Act and the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw with the conditions as noted in the detailed agenda, with the additional condition that the maintenance plan needs to be signed off by the agent and the chair of the Conservation Commission before any work starts.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
And German in favor?
Nick Gravel in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor. All right. We're done.
We're done.
One question. I'd like to walk the road with you. Do you have time tomorrow, Monday?
Well,
Now?
When, you're walking now.
Jeez.
When, you think you'll be able to?
To get the draft ready?
Yeah.
Some point next week. I have a training tomorrow. Probably Monday or Tuesday.
Monday? All right,
Monday or
so
Tuesday I can draft it.
Tuesday morning?
You got it.
Okay.
Meet you at the mailboxes, what time?
What mailbox?
There's at the top,
Top of the hill.
at the top of the hill, there's,
What time? You gotta get the kids on the bus?
We have conservation and coffee at 10, but I could do 9.
Okay, all right.
9 o'clock Monday.
Yep. Gotta be done in 45 minutes.
Oh, fine.
Yep.
We'll pick up the coffee on the way back.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Dennis.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Mountain Brook Road, request for certificate of compliance.
We are tabling this just because we haven't gotten to get, Heather and I haven't had a chance to get an extensive eye on this.
right.
But this came up because the Mountain Brook was never properly closed and it was a town project. We've had 2 properties on Mountain Brook that have had to request a partial certificate of compliance, and then someone called about a house for sale and having to close it out, and then it just made more sense that since it's a town project, we close it out instead of the expense.
Right.
So we're working on wrapping that up.
All right, so we're on to 114 Lane 10, request for a certificate of compliance.
Requesting for table, I just haven't had a chance to fully
Right.
go out and inspect.
Regent Lane?
Regent Lane, I have been able to inspect. We granted an extension earlier this year. Everything's all buttoned up. The site is stable. I am impressed by the addition in the back that was on that ledge.
Oh.
Come on, where are we going here?
On the
Freezing
ledge.
on me. Oh, it's on the edge. Also, originally this was going to be like a paved area for parking, and obviously they moved the playground here, and I know that not on a conservation concern, but where if you remember, the playground was kind of down near the scary hill, so they moved that up. But driveways paved, that was, and the stormwater systems put underneath. I would just like to address the dumping of yard waste by this area, making sure that that's staying clear, because that'll just cause them future problems in long term. But yeah, the addition right on the edge there, but it looks good. Everything's clean. There's some areas we used to be able to walk around completely, and they've kind of let this kind of regrow, which I also think has an added benefit to it too. But site's stable. I don't have any concerns.
We need to look at it?
I don't think so. I mean, majority of the work was done. The only thing that wasn't done when we went out early this year was that back addition, and the driveway wasn't paved.
Right.
But
Yeah, and they were moving over to the side for a parking area?
right, that's where the swing set is now.
Oh, that's where they put the swing set?
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with it then.
Yeah.
With regards to the project at 4 Regent Lane, DEP file number 300-1036, I'd like to make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance with the perpetual conditions of 29 through 31.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Gentlemen in favor?
Nick Gravel in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Thank you.
Now we are at dock policy.
Yes. Let me pull this up again. Docks have obviously been an important topic for quite some time now. earlier this year, the select board had made a minor change to their dock policy that basically required that, it was already on the application, but it was just further instated by the policy that all temporary dock permits just required sign off, on the application from our department. Partially because we had no record of what was out there, what was going on in disturbance. So we did a 40 some odd dock inspections this year. The select board is currently discussing amending this once more and removing the permitting process completely. So essentially for temporary docks, floats, and moors, that they would not have to file a permit every year. Instead, it would just be if they make, it has to still meet the same standards that are set in the policy now. They're not making any changes to setbacks or size or anything. But if you cannot meet those requirements for whatever reason, then you would apply for a variance from the select board. And and then other than that, the only time that we would really be made aware of anything is if we get a complaint on it. Slack had a meeting this evening. They're discussing the, proposed changes to the dock policy, and they're putting together a position paper on it. I want to, keep the commission in the loop. This doesn't really affect us in any way other than the fact that it's just, I'm not going out inspecting 43 temporary docks, which if I inspected them once, I probably wouldn't go again. But if there's any comments, concerns on this policy, as it is for temporary docks, rafts, moors.
Well, where do we get the policy?
What's that?
Where is the policy?
On the select board's website.
Is it? And that's it.
You have to dig a little. It's in the bylaws too. Like on there, on that link. It's only like 4 pages, not very long. It's not very.
Well, let's take a look at it for the next meeting.
Okay.
Violations? Agent update?
Yep, so we went out to inspect 48 Bushnell at our last round of site inspection, so the commission could take a look at the additional clearing and the restoration plan, which had some plantings outside of the buffer, but also just maintaining, keeping the invasives at bay. The restoration seemed appropriate, and I think that we would just kind of issue the permit for the plantings, so that way we have just kind of something on paper and some oversight for it, and just adding something that it would continue into perpetuity, that there's no additional clearing in this back area. I'm not sure if the house did sell or if it's still pending, but we would just want to monitor it going forward.
Right. 118 Lead Mine Road.
118 Lead Mine. I haven't heard back from the property owner, but I sent a copy of the approved restoration plan that Glenn had done under the previous owner, saying that this is what we're looking for, so I'm going to follow up again. I'll send out another letter, and if I don't hear back, then I would like to start implementing fines.
How long ago was the original notification that there was an issue?
June.
So at this point, do we feel like they're just ignoring you in hopes you go away?
Yes.
So I have no reason to believe that one more notification is going to do anything but kick the can down the road.
I'll do it as a quick follow-up. I'll send one more, like a final notice type, and then say this is your final notice for some response back, and next one is a fine. I want to go that way. It's an open enforcement order too.
I guess my question would be, why wait?
Nothing.
If it's been since June, I mean, it's the end of September now.
Well, I sent at the last meeting, we had talked about what the restoration would be, and that fact would just be implementing that last plan, and I got that out a little bit late, so
Okay.
I'd like to just give it one more.
Okay, that's fair.
Because we didn't talk about it extensively.
346 Lead Mine Road.
So obviously at the last meeting, we acted on 346 lead mine and denied that project, but now we've still got, technically it was an open violation for the test pits and disturbance. Do we want to require that they do anything? There's still some erosion controls out there from when they did that. Do we want to just have them leave it alone? Get the erosion controls out? How do we want to proceed so that way we can?
I'd like to leave it alone.
Okay.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I can't imagine them going in and creating a benefit for us.
I think removing it probably is going to cause more disturbance.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't recall if they had biodegradable wattles in there.
I think they did.
They did, or did they have the synthetic on
I
it?
can't remember.
All right, let's go on. Conservation lands, anything?
Well, could we confirm?
Yeah.
I mean, what's on site?
Yeah,
and
I mean,
make
they
sure-
haven't done the septic work for the project next door, so I'll be there again at some point anyway.
Yeah.
Unless
okay.
they did it and didn't tell me.
All right, perfect.
So then, nothing really on conservation lands unless you all have anything, but then, getting into agent update. As everyone knows, town meeting moved up to April, so everything's due a lot faster now. So, just these next few weeks, I'm probably going to be really busy with reports and trying to get our budget together because that's due on October, like the second week of October. So I have to predict the cost of things a year from now, and yeah, get that out.
With or without tariffs?
Yeah. No, everything. The rise in cost that we've just seen in office supplies. There was the whiteboard that I bought that was in Lori's office, that I bought at the beginning of this year, cost me $20, and then it was $60. The same exact one, same board. So these are all things. So I'm just gonna kind of be working on that, and any other budget or betterment items. So save the date, April 27th is the annual town meeting, and the special town meeting will be on November 17th. That warrant's currently open. I don't have anything on it as of right now, but if there's anything that I think might be relevant, I'll keep you noticed. But
Do you know of anything that is on it?
Street or Beach is supposed to be on it for the new road that we're gonna pay for, even though there's a road. But that will be on there. Other updates, the last day to order rain barrels is on Sunday, September 28th. So if you're planning on getting one, or share that with your friends and neighbors, it really is a great program, especially because we are in a drought right now, that it's a great reason to have one. This week at our internal land use meeting, Ann Goby, who is now the Director of Rural Affairs, came and spoke with us about the change to the solar bylaw, more so just to kind of hear our concerns, and how this bylaw the new state regulations on solar that are supposed to take effect in March are going to kind of impact communities, especially with the expedited review period, that we only have 1 year to review these projects now, and for all permits, not just one at a time. We've talked about the impacts of watersheds. One thing that I brought up is that I think that for projects like this, that instead of just notifying direct abutters for towns, so like with planning, if your town's a direct abutter, but also one town over, because of the watershed impacts that this does have, that we should be broadening the public notice to other communities. So the draft regulation is out. I'll forward that email to everyone tomorrow. And public comment closes on October 17th. So if this is something that you're passionate about, be sure to look for that email and provide your public comment. There's a couple listening sessions that are coming up, and the public comment meeting will be virtual. The hearing will be virtual. So again, if that's something that you're interested in, please look at that. And then we're basically getting cut off on accounts for sureties because we're running out of account numbers. So each surety gets its own account number, and our accountant has said we are almost out of numbers, that when they had agreed to do these surety things, they didn't anticipate that it was going to be as many accounts. You know, we do have, it is in our bylaw for when we would kind of, or what gives us the right to have a surety, but I think that we need to have a further discussion on when we actually feel we need them. One, so we can be consistent with who's getting them, and that way we don't, it's never, you know, accused like, we don't like you, you don't have one, but obviously some developers have other reputations. So you know, it's a conversation that I'd like to kind of figure out, and see how we move forward. And then we're kind of working on going back to projects that have them and following up with some of these projects that have a surety and just figuring out where they stand and if we can close some of those out so we can vacate that account.
Is this a logistical issue or a cost issue?
Both.
Can we size what the cost issue is?
I can ask.
I just, like, there's too many reasons to have these in place to abandon it over what could be a nominal cost and a little bit of aggravation.
Right.
So I would, personally, I'd like to see the level of aggravation and administration sized and also the cost. Because personally, I think the purpose of the sureties are working in our favor.
Well, so the purpose of the surety legally cannot be to force them to come close it out, and that's not what it says in the bylaw.
That's not the purpose.
Right. But yeah, I understand. So just for my history, since you've been doing the sureties, do you have any idea of how often that we've actually had to use that money to stabilize a site or fix problems? Just so I can kind of...
I'd guess none.
I don't know that we have had to.
Good.
Yeah. That doesn't mean it doesn't work.
Right. Right.
If we want to bring this up as a subject, we need some kind of preparation, some numbers, and
okay.
Rather than just let's talk about it at the end of the meeting. That's going to kill us.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking a Herculean problem and a Herculean amount of cost, then let's discuss it. If we're talking about a small annoyance and a small amount of cost, then let's figure out how to keep it going.
Okay.
And then
Board
as of right now, I know that we have at least 2 new applications. We need to schedule site visits. We also, I've been actively working with Pine Lake to try and figure everything out so we can move forward and close some things out. That vegetation management plan comes back on our agenda at the next meeting. So we'd like to try and schedule a site visit for Pine Lake.
They're going to let us on the property?
Yeah. We're working with, they're inviting us for the site visit. So, but I don't know if it might be a lengthy, like the last time that I went out, I was probably there for like an hour and a half, and I would assume that we're gonna be there for a while, so I don't know if we wanna do like 2 site visit days, one for the hearings, and then one just for Pine Lake. So that way we're not spending a whole day on site visits, especially for those that do have to work too.
Okay. See what we have
I'm
on.
asking for dates.
Yeah.
So that
If we can
week,
pick site
that week
visits.
of the 29th, I'm out of town, so don't take me into consideration.
Okay.
29th of this month?
Yeah, because our meeting's on the 9th,
On the 9th.
so it'd be,
Which, I mean, we can do site visits the week of the meeting.
What?
We can do site visits the week of the meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I can, if I get the detail done before that, I can just make my comments at the meeting that if, this has been addressed at the site visit or something. But we can do site visits the week of, 9th. Oh, why did I just go out of that?
I mean, I could do that Friday, 3rd, if we wanted to do it, if that helps.
Floor, what's
Yeah,
your,
Friday 3rd, if I book it right now, I'm available.
well, what about like the 6th or the 7th?
Or the 6th as well, 7 now I teach all day.
Nick?
7th is
October
Tuesday?
6th?
The 6th would work. What time, are we talking midday? What time are we talking, like?
Usually we meet, it'll be like, we'll meet at town hall at like 9.
Noon, is that what you said?
At 9 a.m.?
Yeah, sorry.
So we'll, yeah, so we'd meet at town hall at 9 a.m. and then you can either follow in your car or you can ride in the town cars.
Okay.
And map everything out
Right,
and
good.
figure that out.
Yep.
So 6?
Monday the
October
6th,
6th.
that works.
All right, what else? Here we, the schedule of site visits for the September, that's a typo. Did you bring that in off the,
What?
number 17?
Schedule site visits for, oh yeah, for the October 9th meeting.
Yeah,
Oh, we just did that, so.
screwed up there.
Hey, you know what?
Somebody new.
That seems like a lot of work, Ed. We're gonna start disagreeing again.
Oh, no, I think you're right there. Adjournment? Anything else?
Nick?
Anything on liaison you want to say before we get off that? You said to me that you wanted to push it up to
Oh,
the
next meeting we want to talk about liaisons again because Nick was the Trails liaison and obviously now, or Nate was the Trails liaison and obviously he's not, so I'm gonna put that on the agenda. And yeah, you're supposed to be Slack. They're meeting tonight,
Yeah.
or they met tonight.
Well, welcome to Slack.
Yeah.
When I was on, they always met on Thursdays too. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell, I don't know how.
We asked them if they wanted to change it and they said that it really only
But we need-
affects 2 of their meetings of the season, of the 5 months.
Become a tree guy.
Sure.
Tree guy for,
The Halterman, the new Halterman.
The new Halterman.
The new Halterman.
well, I'll put that on
Forestry plans and all that.
I'll put that on the next agenda then.
All right.
Great.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good.